We are ready for baseball here in San Jose, California. The Central Coast Section Baseball Championships, the Division II level. We are live at San Jose Municipal Stadium, home of the single-A San Jose Giants. Jeff Kurtz alongside Philip Kern, our cameraman today, Daniel Stewart, and Kevin Smith, our producer. And Philip, we have a very interesting matchup here to start with Division II. The defending champion St. Ignatius Wildcats, a Cinderella run to this game, and the visiting team, and they're the defending champions, not even favored today against the Willow Glen Rams.
Well, it's exactly, because anytime you get a final that pits a public and a private school, there's always going to be an extra element to that rivalry, but you said it right here. St. Ignatius, the 14 seed, and like you said, defending Division II champions, not even favored to win this one, but here they are again with a very, very impressive run to this finals. And, of course, Willow Glen looking to atone for a very disappointing finish in last year's CCS playoffs. They're very excited to be here, and it's a perfect, beautiful day for baseball as well. I mean, it is really signaling in the Memorial Day weekend, too.
We have been blessed with a lot of great weather throughout the state of California for a lot of baseball championships and softball championships that we've been covering this week on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. We've got softball going on at the Police Athletic League field, not too far from San Jose Municipal Stadium. So invite you to check out that action in between our games here today. But this is the first of a triple header here on Play On Sports, Division II, then Division III, and we conclude at night with Division I. Let's look at Matthew Stetcher's St. Ignatius Wildcats. He's going to send up Logan Steinberg, the starting shortstop, will bat first. Christian Santos, the second baseman, batting second. Matt Crook is a designated hitter, batting for the pitcher Jonathan Hernandez. He's in the third spot in the order. Jason Cook is the first baseman. He's batting fourth. Jack Stinn, the center fielder, bats fifth. Steven Ostrowski, the third baseman, bats sixth. Dylan Foster is the right fielder. He will bat seventh. Rob Emery, the catcher, bats eighth. And Dennis Schoniger, the left fielder, will bat ninth. Meanwhile, Kenny Corey out to the mound for the Willow Glen Rams, a record of 20-10 this year, led by head coach Mike Riley. He's going to be throwing it behind the plate to John Riley. Over at first base is Jimmy Riley. I'm sensing a family affair here at Willow Glen High School. Over at second base, Kenny Sullivan. The shortstop is Tucker Bacon, the most delicious sounding name in the game today, folks. Hope you'll reach for a hot dog right after that. I know I certainly would like to. Justin Bruce, the third baseman. The right fielder is going to be Joe Hutchings. The center fielder, Matt Toscano. The left fielder is Adam Traylor. St. Ignatius comes in with a record of 18-13. Willow Glen, the 5 seed, as Philip mentioned a moment ago. St. Ignatius, the 14 seed. And Philip, as you look at today's game, keys to the ball game, first for the visiting St. Ignatius Wildcats, then the Willow Glen Rams.
Well, first off, for the St. Ignatius Wildcats, something has to be, it really has to start off with their pitching. When I talked to Coach Stetcher earlier in the week, he's basically saying that the pitching has been consistent throughout the entire season. So in order for them to really finish off the Cinderella run, it has to come through with one more sterling performance, and they're going to count on Jonathan Hernandez for that. And, of course, you have to look at Steven Ostrowski and Dylan Foster. How will they follow up their sensational semifinal performance? In fact, against the Brandon Bruins, they went for a combined 7 for 8, with Foster chipping in 3 RBI. So how will those two guys in that lineup really stretch that Wildcats lineup and make things interesting for Kenny Corey?
Those are MLB The Show type numbers for your video game console, not something for a baseball field. But all that's put aside now as we are set and ready to go for this 7-inning regulation baseball game at the high school level. Boys Division II, Logan Steinberg steps in against Kenny Corey. We are underway, and Steinberg takes strike one. Wind is blowing out slightly right to left. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that impacts today's game at all. This one's going to be bounced to shortstop. An easy 3-hopper, quick toss over, and there's one retired in the inning. Bacon to Riley for the first out.
And a little bit of a scouting report here on Kenny Corey. What Mike Riley was telling me earlier is that he's got great movement on his fastball and has a good slider. And what I was noticing, too, is that his mechanics, he looks to be throwing really free and easy. And that's really going to be something that we'll be watching for.
First pitch, this is going to be ripped into left field as Christian Santos. I barely had time to announce his name, and he's already singled and put himself on first base with one down in the inning. The next batter will be Matt Crook. He is your designated hitter, batting from the left-hand side. He's hitting for Jonathan Hernandez. At the high school level, you can forego the designated hitter, or you can add one in for not just the pitcher, but for any position player you like. And St. Ignatius going with the pitcher, Willow Glen going with their second baseman, Kenny Sullivan. He's going to be Hit 4 by their designated hitter, Tommy Nichols. Swing and a miss by Crook on a pitch on the outside. Strike 1.
St. Ignatius really thinking highly of Matt Crook. Coach Stetcher was talking about him earlier as the throw goes back to first. He described Crook as having game-changing power. And, of course, when you have a guy like that in your third slot, that's really going to be a nice luxury there for Coach Stetcher.
This one is away, and the count evens at 1-1. Well, you can see right away that Corey is trying to keep the ball on the outside half of the plate or further, if at all possible, against a left-handed hitting Crook, who is right on the edge of that chalk, crowding the plate from that left-hand side. The 1-1. Curveball in there for a strike. Nice pitch. And the count's 1-2.
Now with this count, now that you're mentioning how far Crook is crowding that plate, let's see if Corey busts him inside with a well-placed fastball.
This one is going to go inside. It's going to be bounced foul, though. The catcher, John Riley, was setting up outside, so Crook got that one in on the hands and fouls it off, but I don't think that's quite where Riley wanted that last ball.
Definitely not. And just to give you an idea of what kind of numbers Kenny Corey has had coming into this one, 6-1 with a 0.99 ERA. Microscopic.
This ball, there's some game-changing power. It's going to go into the gap. Heading to third base is Santos. Chugging for second is Crook. He's going to be in with a stand-up double. The outfield was playing him to pull, Phillip, and a nice bit of two-strike hitting by Crook. He goes the opposite way, and St. Ignatius has runners in scoring position with just one down here in the top of the first inning.
It's a very nice adjustment. On two-strike hitting, you always want to go towards the middle of the field. That way you make sure you don't give yourself away at one way or the other. And like you said, there's that game-changing power. It's not exactly home run power per se, but sometimes just hitting it into those gaps, now you've got both runners in scoring position for a lock.
It wasn't game-changing power on that swing, but it could be down the road. Crook has a very good approach to the plate. There's a nice breaking ball on Jason Locke, the starting first baseman for St. Ignatius. He takes one on the outside corner for strike 1. 3:20 to the corners here at San Jose Municipal Stadium. 390 to straightaway center field. This is a swing and a miss on a pitch just off the outside edge of the plate as Corey gets Locke reaching, and the count is 0-2. A strikeout would be huge here for Kenny Corey.
Well, he essentially has to pitch for the strikeout at this point. If a fly ball is deep enough, that'll be enough for a sacrifice fly for the first run.
This one is going to be flared foul into the bleachers, and an unsuspecting fan almost got one right in the back. I think he was just reaching over into his backpack to get out the sunscreen. The next thing he knows, he's got a ball whizzing right by him. Heads up.
He probably thought just because he's the one guy on those foul line stands, he'd be escaping that, but doesn't look like it.
That pitch is just inside. An ooh from the Willow Glen fans who thought that might be a called strike 3, but just on the inside edge of the plate. Off the inside edge, I should say. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 down in the inning. That one is off the outside edge. Corey is putting it. He couldn't be doing any better right now with Riley if he walked up and handed him the ball where Riley was setting up. But good call by our home plate umpire, just a little bit outside, and the count is even at 2-2.
It's still a good pitch, though, because now he's getting to think about that outside corner.
Breaking ball into the air, deep. This is going to get a run in. Ball is going to be caught by the left fielder Trailer. Hustling in from third base and scoring is Santos for the first run of the game. Locke gets his job done, gets an RBI. Crook will stay at second base.
Exactly what Kenny Corey wanted to avoid, but at least, even though it's an out, it's a productive out for Locke, and it gets St. Ignatius on the board first. So now basically Kenny Corey can go back to just square one, just get the last out of the inning and get the Rams up to get their hacks in.
Second and third, 1 out, and you can get away with just the 1 run given up. That's considered a win as far as the defense is concerned, but they still have to deal with Jack Stinn, the center fielder, batting 5th. And he'll take one just off the outside edge, ball 1. Well, Corey, outstanding control. He is throwing it where he wants to. He's just missing, though. And the home plate umpire, Greg Maddox used to say, you start out on the black, and you keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, so you pretty much got the umpire leaning into the dugout as this one's bounced to the right side. It's going to get through. Hustling home is Crook, and the right fielder drops the ball, and Crook holds up at third base. Well, ooh. Crook looked like he was going for home. His third base coach held him up, and then dropping the ball was Joe Hutchings as he was taking it from his glove, so Crook would have been safe, but if Hutchings comes up with it cleanly, Crook would have been out at home plate. So As we get back to that Maddox analogy or that story really quickly, Maddox would say, so you go on the black, you keep going outside, outside, outside. You got the umpire leaning in the dugout. The minute he calls it a ball, go back to the black and start all over again. And right now, Corey is trying to establish that outside as Stin with a base hit, and there's runners at the corners with 2 down.
And if anybody could tell stories about how to control a strike zone, who better than the professor himself, Greg Maddox?
It's certainly worth going to school under his tutelage, that's
exactly.
for sure. The batter is Steven Ostrowski. Ostrowski, the third baseman. That one is on the outside corner, strike 1.
There you can see Jack Stin over first was starting to think about maybe going on Kenny Corey a little bit. But, I mean, Corey really doesn't have to worry about the runner first. Just keep your focus on the hitter and just get that third out.
And it looks like Riley's got a pretty good arm behind the plate as well. So this could be the third out of the inning if Stin elected to go. This ball is outside, 1-1. The inning began with a ground out to shortstop, but then a single, a double, a sacrifice fly, another single, 1 run in for St. Ignatius. They have runners at the corners. Breaking ball in the dirt. Nice job by Riley going low to get that stop. And the count is 2-1, so slightly favoring Ostrowski here, Philip.
It really is, but I mean, like you mentioned before, Corey is really not having control issues. I mean, he's really putting it, for the most part, where his catcher's putting up the target.
This one is going to be slapped up the middle. Nice job by the shortstop, ranging to his left. That's Tucker Bacon with the meaty toss over to the second baseman, Sullivan, for the third out of the inning. And that will do it. 6-4 on the putout. We move to the bottom of the first inning of play, and let's take a look at the Willow Glen Rams offensively, what their batting order is, and then we'll take a look at St. Ignatius defensively. Matt Toscano will be the leadoff batter for the Rams. He is playing center field. Kenny Corey, the pitcher, getting to hit in today's game, batting second. John Riley, the catcher, will bat third. Justin Bruce is the third baseman. He's batting fourth. Tucker Bacon, who just made a play a moment ago, is the shortstop, batting fifth. Adam Traylor, the left fielder, bats sixth. Jimmy Riley, the first baseman, will bat seventh in the order. Joe Hutchings, the right fielder, will bat eighth. And Tommy Nichols is the designated hitter, batting for Kenny Sullivan. He will hit ninth. And Jonathan Hernandez out to the mound with a 1-run lead, 1 run on 3 hits for the St. Ignatius Wildcats in that top of the first inning. He's going to be throwing to Rob Emery behind the plate. Over at first base is Jason Locke. Your second baseman is Christian Santos, who scored that run for St. Ignatius in the first inning. The shortstop is Logan Steinberg. Steven Ostrowski is the third baseman. Going to the outfield starting in right, Dylan Foster. The center fielder is Jack Stin, and the left fielder is Dennis Schoniger. And so Hernandez with a 1-0 lead in this first inning, and we'll see what kind of a start he gets off to here. Is for St. Ignatius, they're thinking, let's get 1, 2, 3, get back in there and see if we can add some more on Corey.
And, of course, the way Corey's been throwing all season long, any runs you get are going to have to be treated as gold, really, at this point. But interesting thing about Jonathan Hernandez, and talking to Coach Stetcher, he actually started out the season as a long reliever, and because of injuries to their starting staff, he got pushed into the rotation. But really, he's had a lot of high praise for him. He said he has good command with 3 effective pitches, but you know when he's right, when he keeps the ball down and gets ground balls. So we're going to see just what type of contact the Willow Glen Rams make.
Starting out with a strike on Toscano. Nice job by Hernandez getting ahead. Toscano stepping in from the left-hand side. The 0-1 is going to be down in the zone, and the count even at 1-1. Leadoff hitters typically like to see if they can go deep into a count if they can. Let your guys on the bench in the on-deck circle see a lot of pitches. This one is low and in, and the count is 2-1. If you can go 3-2 and foul off a couple and then get on base, that would be the ideal.
Yeah, exactly. You want to work Hernandez's pitch count up so that way St. Ignatius has to go to their bullpen early.
The 2-1. Slap toward the hole. Nice backhand. Long throw. And just getting Toscano is Logan Steinberg. Nice arm.
It was a good arm, but he had to field that cleanly as Toscano has great speed coming out of that leadoff spot. And, of course, what adds to is that he's coming out of the left-hand side. And that really does add a couple extra steps in that run towards first base.
Toscano even tripped over the bag trying to get there in time, but he was out by about a step. Kenny Corey now the batter. And Corey takes strike 1. This one is going to be bounced right back up the middle, a base hit. Hernandez, who is falling to his left coming off the mound, couldn't reach back across his body and make the play, and Corey's got a single to center.
And Corey not only having success on the mound, but also carrying a 360 average into this one. So very worthy of that number 2 spot. And you can see it going right up the middle. Didn't even have to wait for 2 strikes to start with that approach. So already Willow Glen in business.
John Riley, the catcher, steps in, third in the order. Short lead over at first base for Corey, not quite to the cut of the grass. His first pitch paints the outside corner for strike 1. Good look by Hernandez.
And Hernandez actually coming into this game a 0.42 ERA. My goodness. I mean, we've got a couple. Exactly. Need a couple of those. I mean, of course, starting on the bullpen, transitioning into the rotation, he's been very good for him.
This one just off the outside edge, 1-1. I mean, that is minuscule, that ERA. Outfield playing straight away. Excuse me, Philip, against the right-handed hitting Riley. Infield slightly to the opposite field against for Riley. Curveball, that is high in the air. Left fielder calling for it is Schoeniger, and he drops the ball. Lost it a little bit in the wind. Crook is going to hustle to second base and get there just in time as he went halfway, and Schoeniger almost got him out at second base, but on the error, Riley is aboard.
And it really was the ideal situation. They got Riley, who is basically the biggest power threat for the Willow Glen Rams coming into this one with 7 home runs. He got under the pitch, and it was right there, but Schoeniger, I think, just lost in the sun and gets charged with the error.
Plus the wind. We were wondering how that was going to play into this, and it looked like he was set up under it, and suddenly the ball was to his left and behind him. Couldn't make the play. Now the batter is Justin Bruce with runners at first and second, and 1 out in the inning. Bruce, the cleanup hitter, looking to do some damage, takes low for ball 1. I mean, that ball was a mile high into the air. Schoeniger could have called for a fair catch, but instead trying to circle under that. That was a tough one to get to. Hernandez's 1-0 is low, 2-0, and now a hitter's count for Justin Bruce with Tucker Bacon on deck.
And something that Coach Stetcher was talking about with Hernandez, something else he liked about him, is he's got a great presence on the mound. He's not easily flustered. So already an early test of his makeup on the mound with that drop fly ball on left.
Yeah, we'll see if Coach Stetcher's analysis holds true here for Hernandez. The 2-0 pitch, outside ball 3. So we'll see if Mike Riley gives Justin Bruce the green light here with 3-0. Typically that would be no, but with your cleanup hitter up there, he may have the signal to go ahead and take a crack at one if he likes it. He will keep the bat on his shoulder and look at strike 1, 3-1.
Well, if you're going to give the green light to anybody, how about your cleanup hitter with a 379 average? That's a good start.
Yeah, those odds are in your favor. But Bruce is still with a hitter's count, 3 balls and a strike. That is in the air right field, heading towards the corner, fading over, and making the grab is Dylan Foster. A long throw to third base, tagging up and advancing is Kenny Corey. So he is on at third on the fly out to right. There are 2 down in the inning, and the batter is Tucker Bacon. Nice job staying with that play. Dylan Foster. It's a high sky here today. I mean, it is very sunny, very bright. You'd think you'd have a great view, but sometimes the high sky will make it difficult. But it looked like Foster did a good job on that one, seeing that ball off the crack of the bat. This one is in the air, also to right field. Shallow right, Foster fading in on it. He's got a beat on it, and that's the 3rd out of the inning. Well, Hernandez holds up. He gets a couple of flyouts to Dylan Foster to end the bottom of the 1st inning. We've completed 1 here at San Jose Municipal Stadium in this Division II championship game. St. Ignatius leading it 1-0. And folks, want to let you know that there are a lot of ways you can interact with PlayOnSports.com. Social media, we're all over it, folks. Philip here to tell you more.
Thank you, Jeff. And Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, playonsports.com.
Jeff Kurtz alongside Philip Kern. Kevin Smith sitting right next to us, our producer, who hustled in from Bellarmine High School today where they were having graduation and got us all set up and ready to go. So yeoman's work by our Central Coast section staff of Play on Sports here today, folks. We are all over the place. 3 softball games today, 3 baseball games, all in the Central Coast section. We're also in the North Coast section at track over at UC Berkeley. San Francisco section track at Kezar Stadium in the heart of downtown San Francisco. And we finish with some baseball from the Sac Joaquin section on Memorial Day weekend, actually Memorial Day itself, 6 games there, and then North Coast section baseball and softball next Friday and Saturday. So if you like baseball and softball, folks, you should just camp out on our website for the next week. We've got it all for you. As St. Ignatius is going to send their 7, 8, 9 hitters in the order to the plate in the top of the second inning. Dylan Foster, Rob Emery, and Dennis Schoniger.
And if you're going to camp out on our website, make sure you have a strong Wi-Fi signal with you.
Yes, that's right. And a plan with unlimited data.
That helps too.
That is critical. This is a swing and a miss on the first pitch for strike 1. I don't want all those emails, folks, telling me, well, they said I should just camp out on it. But now I'm paying a lot extra. No, unlimited plan. Foster batting for the right-hand side. The right fielder records the last 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. Takes strike 2. Interesting, Kenny Corey, unlike most pitchers, when there's nobody on base, pitching out of the stretch. He is exclusively from the stretch position.
It is a bit unusual, but at least one of 2 things. Either he's very confident in the stretch or he's not too fond of his windup.
This is under the glove of Tucker Bacon at shortstop, a single for Foster that's going to go into left center field on the ground, and there's a leadoff batter aboard for St. Ignatius.
And Dylan Foster carrying over his impressive performance against Branham, now 4 for 5 in his last 2 games.
You get the sense that he's seeing the ball when it comes up to the plate. It doesn't look like a baseball. It looks like a beach ball.
Exactly.
When you're in the zone, as he dives back to first base, a quick toss over by Corey. The ball slows down. You see it really well. Every swing feels tremendous, and you really don't want to do anything like move too quickly to shake that up.
No.
You got some mojo going. Foster's not taking that big of a lead over at first base. Corey has thrown over there twice. It's a very short lead, as a matter of fact. Showing bunt is St. Ignatius. They're going to push it down. And the third baseman, Justin Bruce, is going to come all the way in. He was in front of the mound. He was practically in the lap of Rob Emery when he squared. And then he runs over and tags him. The catcher, John Riley, had to hustle down and cover third base. So it's a little unorthodox, but the sacrifice bunt, I don't recall ever seeing a sac bunt GO5 unassisted. Ground out to the catcher, or to the third baseman, unassisted put out at first.
Very unusual.
So 1 down in the inning, a runner in scoring position. Dennis Schoniger, the 9-hitter in the order, steps in for the Wildcats. And he takes one a little bit high for ball 1. A base hit here could make this a 2-0 Wildcat lead. 4 hits already for St. Ignatius in the game.
And Corey not missing too far out of the strike zone, too.
That one's off the plate. And we'll emphasize again, folks, it's not, Corey isn't wild here. They're setting up outside on the outside part of the plate and trying to induce St. Ignatius to swing at some of those pitches outside of the zone, but so far the Wildcats have been disciplined. This one is going to be bounced to the right-hand side. 4-3 on the putout. Foster advances to third base. Schoniger retired for the second out of the inning, though he does go opposite field and advance the runner 90 feet. Logan Steinberg now the batter. Steinberg bounced out to Bacon to begin the ball game.
While we got a brief moment here, we want to let you know the umpires for today's game. Behind home plate is Bob Hayes. He'll be calling the balls and strikes. First base umpire is Dave Stamer, and third base umpire is Steve Leary.
This one is swung on a miss. Steinberg in an 0-1 hole. 2 down. Outfield is playing Steinberg to pull just slightly. The center fielder, Matt Toscano, is shifted a little bit to his right, your left on your screen. Breaking ball. That was a beauty. Whew. My knees buckled from here watching that one come in. 0-2. Corey looking to work his way out of it.
I believe he calls that breaking ball over the rainbow Kenny Corey style.
That dropped a long way. This is a fastball. A two-hopper to the second baseman. Quick throw over. Nice job by Kenny Sullivan. If he hesitates at all on that one, the speedy Steinberg's going to beat it out, and a run is going to come in for St. Ignatius. But instead, a 4-3 put-out ends the threat in the top of the second inning. We move to the bottom of the second inning. We'll keep it right here on PlayOnSports.com. Adam Traylor, Jimmy Riley, and Joe Hutchings are your scheduled hitters for the Willow Glen Rams. It's been quite a run for Willow Glen, the 5 seed in this tournament. They started out playing Los Altos, the 12 seed, and won that 10-0. Then they faced the 13 seed Burlingame, which had upset Los Gatos in the first round, a 2-0 win. Willow Glen won that 6-1, beating Westmont the other day, and Westmont the 1 seed, and that was a big upset in that particular game, at least as far as the prognosticators were concerned, perhaps not so much as far as the Rams were concerned.
No, absolutely not. I mean, the Rams have always believed that they are the type of team that can make that deep run in the CCS playoffs, and they've done so for the last couple of years. But like you said, both these teams have had sort of their upsets to get here. I mean, St. Ignatius has had obviously a few more based on where they've been seated, but I think that win against Westmont really sort of serving to galvanize this Willow Glen team. I mean, just to give you an idea of just how they've done. I mean, Coach Riley was really having some high remarks about his senior leadership, how they've always been key throughout the entire season. And you can see, to beat a team like Westmont, the number 1 seed in that division, you got to have good leadership in order to navigate you through, because there's going to be some uneasy moments where you think the game's about to get away from you. And they were able to keep everything together, and here they are right now.
Willow Glen is going to send up Adam Traylor, Jimmy Riley, and Joe Hutchings. Here's one along the ground. Fair ball, bobbled by the first baseman, and tagged out is Traylor, just barely, by Jason Locke. That's the kind of play that makes your coach's stomach do front flips and back flips. As the ball was bobbled by Locke, and then Traylor almost was able to slide in underneath it, but instead the first out of the inning on the unassisted put out, and there's one down.
That's definitely a good way to kick the acid reflux into overdrive, if you will.
Yes, I don't think Matt Stetcher's reaching for the bottle of Malox just yet, but
no.
Jimmy Riley now the batter. Riley's going to bounce one up the middle. This time Hernandez able to reach back across his body and make the play. What a great set of reflexes on Hernandez on that one.
I believe that's where the excellent mound makeup that Coach Stetcher was talking about comes into play.
Well, I think Hernandez learned. You know, the first time when the ball got by him on the Kenny Corey single up the middle, he was falling to his left instead of squaring up into defensive position, and that time he looked more squared up and was able to make the play. Now Joe Hutchings the batter. Quickly 2 down in the bottom of the second inning, and Hutchings is going to take low for ball 1.
I think Hernandez was getting a little optimistic. He got 2 outs in the first 2 pitches, so I think he was probably hoping for a quicker inning.
And now time is called, as Hutchings is going to go over and talk to his coach. So I don't know if a sign was missed. There's nobody on. I mean, they could have said, hey, let's lay a bunt down, but the third baseman, Ostrowski, was playing in on the grass. So I'm not sure what the conversation was there, but Ostrowski might take in another step or two just in case. The delivery, that's going to be outside. Two balls, no strikes. Low ball 3. Maybe the conversation was just take until you get a strike.
Could be. I mean, because Hernandez really is trying to navigate that strike zone a little bit, and he's really gotten Willow Glen to swing at anything so far.
That one's low ball 4, so a 4-pitch walk. Considering how quickly Hernandez moved through the first 2 batters, that's a bit of a surprise. And now the batter is the designated hitter, Tommy Nichols. So worst case scenario for Willow Glen, if Nichols is retired, you're back to the top of the order again, and Matt Toscano. We'll see if Hutchings is on the move here with 2 down in the inning. Short lead over at first. He's going to stay put, and there's a strike on the inside corner.
I think something else that Coach Riley was wanting to emphasize, that he started to sense that his lineup was getting antsy. I mean, 2 pitches, 2 outs, just trying to remind Hutchings, look, work the count on this guy, because if you start swinging at everything, that's what you're really going to play into his hands. You won't force St. Ignatius to go to the bullpen.
That one is low, 1-1. And it wasn't like the pitches that Willow Glen were swinging at were bad pitches, but you're absolutely right. If Hernandez is throwing 2 and then he's got an out and he throws 2 more and he's 4 pitches into the inning and you're already down with 2 outs, that makes his job a lot easier. This pitch is outside, 2-1. Suddenly Hernandez struggling with his control a little bit. And lo and behold, Willow Glen has gotten a little more selective. So I don't know if that's a coincidence, Doctor, but the evidence certainly points to Willow Glen's work in the count is working here on the last 2 batters. That's ball 3. So of the last 8 pitches that Hernandez has thrown, 7 of them have been outside the strike zone.
Now you're seeing Emery coming out to have a little conversation with Hernandez, trying to calm him down a little bit. And really just at the start of this inning, he was starting to roll. And now I think Riley, with that very key timeout, may have disrupted his flow a little bit. And so now he's having a hard time finding the strike zone.
And he's reminding his hitters to be patient. Well, and you can often, you get into a championship game like this, the nerves get going, you want to make something happen. So you start doing things that you maybe weren't doing over the course of the year, rushing your at-bats, swinging early in counts. That one's outside, ball 4. So 2 consecutive walks by Hernandez, and there's runners at first and second, and the batter is Matt Toscano. And Toscano was retired only after a great play by Logan Steinberg going into the hole, backhanding a ball, and the long throw got Toscano by a step. But now Matt Toscano goes from setting the table to perhaps driving in a couple of runners, if not the one at second base, and Joe Hutchings.
If you really want anybody up in this sort of run-scoring situation, you want your best hitter. And Toscano, just average-wise, he has been their best hitter, 402 before his opening at-bat today.
He shows bunt. He takes low for ball 1. Kenny Corey on deck.
And don't think for a minute that Corey is not noticing what opportunity could be set before him if Toscano even gets on base. He could help his own cause and drive in some runs himself.
Hernandez takes his time and comes to the plate, and this is high in the air. Fading on it is Foster. He sets up, and he makes the catch. Foster's had a busy afternoon so far. He's retired 3 of the 6 batters for Willow Glen, who've recorded out so far through the first 2 innings. The threat averted, the 2 walks left on base, Hutchings and Nichols. We've completed 2 at San Jose's Municipal Stadium, home of the single-A San Jose Giants. And St. Ignatius is going to send up Christian Santos, Matt Crook, and Jason Locke. And we'll turn the play-by-play for the next 3 innings over to Philip Kern.
Thank you, Jeff. And, of course, it's been a very interesting first couple innings here for both the Wildcats and the Rams. Neither team without their opportunities right now. And just through the first 2 innings, the Wildcats have left 3 men on base. Willow Glen holding up their own on that unfortunate statistic, leaving 4 on their own. But Kenny Corey is still keeping the Rams in this one, as it is 1-0 heading into the 3rd inning.
Well, Philip, I've liked the approach so far that St. Ignatius has been taking at the plate. They've been alternately patient and then swing at the good first pitch or early in the count. And that's actually not a bad mix. I know we were talking a moment ago about Willow Glen trying to go deeper in the count, but everybody was swinging early for Willow Glen.
Absolutely.
And so the pitcher knows, okay, I don't necessarily have to give you my best pitch right out of the gate, but St. Ignatius has been varying it. So Corey doesn't know, should I lay this one down the middle and get ahead for strike 1? Do I try to nibble on the corner? And there's been more hitters counts than not for the Wildcats through the first couple of innings. They've got 1 run on the board. They already have 4 hits in the game.
That they do, but of course those 4 hits, St. Ignatius probably feels like they could have had at least 1 more run on account of it. And so here we go with Christian Santos. First pitch on the way is a strike, and the count's now 0-1.
That was a dandy curveball that started at Santos' shoulder and broke over the outside half.
That's to the first baseman, Jimmy Riley. He will take it himself, and that's a quick and easy first out.
Well, for Corey, I'd like to see him get an easy inning. He's had base runners in the first 2. And he's had runners in scoring position in the first 2 innings. So I'm sure for Corey and for Willow Glen fans, a nice 1-2-3 and back into the dugout would be very welcome.
No question there. He'd certainly like the first 2/3 of an inning that Hernandez had earlier, as this pitch is way outside to Crook, and it's 1-0.
Well, I can see why Corey wants to stay outside on Crook. Crook had 2 strikes on him in his first at-bat and then hit a double to the opposite field.
1-0 pitch on the way, swing and a miss. And I think Corey pulled the string on that one. It evens the count.
Crook was way out on his front foot there. And Crook's power right now is going to be going into the wind against it. So we'll see if he's able to pull one, what happens with the wind that's blowing from right to left, but now in a 1-2 hole.
Well, 1-2 on that fantastic breaking ball, but you were noticing that the flags are blowing out to left field. 1-2 pitch on the way. This one's dribbled right to Jimmy Riley. He will take it himself again. So pretty active inning right now for the first baseman. It's now 2 outs.
And pretty routine as well. I mean, that's the kind that you like.
It's about as routine as you can get as Jason Locke, who had a sac fly to get the scoring started here back in the first inning to left field. First pitch on the way. Oh, that slider.
Wow.
Oh, man.
That is pretty.
Well,
and unhittable.
Coach Riley was talking about he has a great slider. You saw it right there. 0-1 pitch on the way. This one's going to get grounded right to Bacon. Slow dribbler. Throw to first. That is going to do it. A clean 1-2-3 inning.
Impressive.
For Jason Locke, and we're now going to the bottom of the third. It's still 1-0 Wildcats, but the Rams still hanging in there. They're not really shooting themselves in the foot with any mistakes right now.
Well, Corey did a great job pitching in that particular inning, and you'll notice, Philip, that on that last pitch, or last sequence with Locke, he starts with a slider, and then he goes back to the fastball, and the arm slot is the same place, and the ball has the same trajectory, except for the slider, it's going from the inside half to the outside half. And on the fastball, it stays on the inside half. So if you've got the same release point, the same trajectory, and then the ball doesn't break, you get what happened to Locke, which is you jam him because he's thinking maybe I got to extend my arms a little bit, or he's not sure, is this the slider that I'm getting for the second pitch in a row? So then he ends up getting it on the handle, and you got a nice easy dribbler to Tucker Bacon for the final out of the inning. So a great bit of pitching there by Kenny Corey, and that's something for the casual baseball fan you might not always see. It's guys just throwing the ball up to the mound. Sometimes it breaks, sometimes it doesn't. How come you don't get a hit? Well, one of the key things for pitchers is if you're throwing the ball from the same arm slot every time and your arm is moving at the same velocity every time, even if you're throwing a different pitch, it fools the hitter. So that's how you can get a guy like Trevor Hoffman, who later in his career, when his fastball went from 92 to 88, his changeup went from 78 to 74. He threw everything the same way. So with that big gap in miles per hour, you could still keep hitters off balance even when you lose something off your fastball.
Exactly. You don't want to have the hitters squaring up, because once they do that, even if they hit it to somebody, it starts to get a pitcher a little nervous. Speaking of pitchers, here is Kenny Corey leading off. First pitch, and he doesn't waste any time. Fouls this one down the right field line. It's 0-1.
Well, Corey being aggressive early. But he's the number 2 hitter and a very good hitter, so the bottom end of the order working the count a little bit more and got a couple of walks. Corey swinging right away.
And Corey doesn't waste any time. Second pitch he sees, his second hit of the afternoon, and he's already 2 for 2.
Both to center field. Such a natural swing on Corey. I mean, I know he's worked on that a lot over his young career here at the high school level and extending back into youth leagues, but boy, that is just a pretty. There's just not a lot of movement to it. Good wrist action through the hitting zone. Very, very solid swing and good mechanics.
Some would probably call that a very quiet approach.
Yes.
At the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you mean by that, Philip, is there's not a lot of motion. You know, the leg's not going up and down. There's not a lot of herky-jerky in the arms. There's not a hitch, drop in your hands to get into your swing to get movement. It's just straight from one spot, pop.
So what you're saying is there's no Gary Sheffield movement on that swing?
No.
John Riley pops this one up. It's going into foul territory. Locke is under it, and he's got it. So one pitch and done for John Riley, and that's the first out. So Corey will stay put.
Well, you mentioned Gary Sheffield. There's not a lot of Gary Sheffield action in Kenny Corey's approach, but I'm sure he would love a Gary Sheffield-like career.
Any career like Gary Sheffield would be a very solid career.
Yes, to say the least.
And so here's Justin Bruce with a second at bat, and the throw goes back to first. Trying to keep tabs on Kenny Corey. And Jonathan Hernandez really is sort of an interesting mechanics that we were looking at. From our vantage point, it almost looks like he's sort of pushing the ball towards home plate. And Bruce gets a hold of this one. This could be in the left center gap, and it's going to go over his head. This is going to the wall. Corey's being waved around third. He will try to score it, and he will. And this is a RBI for Justin Bruce. This game is tied.
What a rip by Bruce. Man, he got all of that. It looked for a moment like Jack Stinn might have a read on that ball, but it just kept going and going, and the wind started to blow out a little bit. It's really swirling out there, but that thing just kept traveling, and what a shot by Justin Bruce, and perfect timing as they get the leadoff batter aboard to the Rams for the first time in the game, and Corey comes around to score, and now you got a runner in scoring position with just one down.
And that's the nice part about those run-scoring hits, especially if you get extra bases out of it. Now you put yourself in scoring position for the next guy, which just happens to be Tucker Bacon.
Well, Bacon's got a prime opportunity here to give his team their first lead of the game.
Pitch on the way from Hernandez, a fastball in the outside corner for strike one. Bacon flew out to right in his first at bat, but coming into this one, a .311 average. So you're seeing with Willow Glen a lot of good, solid contact hitters all throughout their lineup.
Whenever you've got a 3 in front of your average or higher, you're in good shape.
Hernandez from the stretch looks back at second. Pitch on the way, and this is going to go right to him. Oh, and they've got Bruce in a rundown. Oh, and he beats the throw to third, and the throw goes away, but he is going to stay at third. But Bacon will go to second on the throw.
Justin Bruce. Whew. He stood there, Phillip, and waited for Hernandez to commit first. Then he ran towards third and then stutter-stepped and hesitated, and it threw Hernandez off, and Hernandez threw it over the head of Ostrowski.
And there's going to be a meeting on the mound, and rightfully so. So I'm guessing they are going to charge Hernandez with the error.
Oh, yeah. Big time. You know what? When you're a kid, I don't know if you played this game when you were a kid, Phillip, but I'm sure a lot of people have. In the game, and youngsters have, and the game is pickle.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
I'm all familiar with that.
Game of pickle. It's really great when you had a slip and slide in there, too. But I get the sense that Tucker Bacon dove right back into the well of those pickle moves he had when he was 9 or 10. That's where you just have two bases, folks. You got two guys throwing a tennis ball or a baseball back and forth, and you've got everybody piled up at bases. You could have as many kids as you want involved in that game. And the goal, run between the two bases without getting tagged out. And you really have to get really fancy and do some good jitterbugging, and that's exactly what Justin Bruce did a moment ago.
That he did, and, of course, gets himself to third as a result. And now here is Traylor with an opportunity to really do some damage. One out, a 1-0 count in his favor. The pitch from Hernandez, it's now 2-0, so you're starting to see perhaps Hernandez, another early test of his mound makeup. I mean, of course, this time it's an error of his own doing.
Yeah, let's see how he bounces back from that.
2-0 pitch on the way. Oh, Traylor lucky that he got a piece of that, although maybe the one breathing a sigh of relief is St. Ignatius. If that's a wild pitch, that could have easily scored a run too.
Well, it was up high, and Traylor was way out in front as Hernandez took a little bit off that. St. Ignatius playing the infield in here, and rightfully so, and a tie ball game in the third, trying to cut the run off at the plate.
2-1 Traylor gets a hold of this. One's high, and this looks like it'll go out of play. Yes. Oh, but Dennis Shaniger was very, very close to making a play there, so that evens the count.
Well, probably just as well that he didn't, because if he does make that catch, he's slamming into the railing. He's out of position. It probably gets a run in from third base on a sacrifice. So you can't advance on that. So even though great hustle by Shaniger, and I could see where he was going with it, this may actually benefit St. Ignatius that he wasn't able to make that catch.
Exactly right. And, of course, I mean, it would be a very, very tough throw after you just ran right into a railing. 2-2 count, and the ump calls time. Actually, it's Traylor who calls time. Felt Hernandez was taking a little too long.
Yeah, that foul ball wasn't especially deep, but he was going away from the play. He hit the railing. He'd be making a basket catch.
And that pitch is outside, so the count is now full for Adam Traylor.
There is a base available, so it's not the end of the world for Hernandez if he loads him up here. It does make for an interesting defensive strategy if that's the case, though. We'll get to that.
And he does walk the bases loaded. So Traylor with a nice job there.
Well, Coach Stetcher's got choices right now, Philip.
Yes,
with the bases loaded and one down, he can go in at the corners to cut the runoff at the plate and double play up the middle, and I think that's exactly what he's about to do. St. Ignatius middle infielders, Santos at second, and Steinberg at short are going to be a double play depth slightly to right field.
And there's Riley with a hit towards center field. Stin looks like he's under it. He does have it. But Bruce is going to tag from third. He will score. So a productive out for Jimmy Riley. It's now 2-1, Willow Glen.
Nice job by Willow Glen as the fans for the Rams happy with what they're seeing. Good fundamental baseball right there by Riley. You don't necessarily need a hit. Just get the ball in the air to the outfield and you give yourself a lead. And better that than overswinging and grounding into a double play and keeping the score tied at 1. And Willow Glen, their first lead of the game.
And good timing there, too. So now Hutchings is up. 2 outs, but still a runner in scoring position. The pitch from Hernandez just missed the outside corner. And that's 1-0.
Well, Hutchings walked his first time up. 3 walks in the game issued by Hernandez. Has yet to strike anybody out. And Willow Glen's starting to time him a little bit better.
It's the benefits of working the count. And that pitch is down the dirt, and that's 2-0.
Well, it's interesting. Willow Glen's fortunes really started to change after Hutchings taking ball 1 in his first at-bat. His coach called time, had a conversation with him. We're guessing it's about working the count. A couple of walks, and that's extended into this inning.
And a foul back to the backstop by Hutchings. It's now 2-1.
Sometimes the at-bats you have that don't necessarily lead to runs, Philip, are still productive down the road. And you make the pitcher work a little bit more. Hernandez got out of a rhythm, and then Corey singles, and lo and behold, a double, an error, and a sacrifice fly later, you've got 2 runs in.
Sometimes the rally starts with some of the most unusual ways.
And in the inning before.
2-1 count on the way to Hutchings, and he's going to ground this one right to short, and it's bobbled by Steinberg, and he can't make a play.
Great base running by Tucker Bacon, who timed it to run right in front of Steinberg as the ball was arriving. May have altered his vision a little bit more moving parts right in front of him. And that ball kicked up a little bit at the end of that hop. And so Steinberg unable to make the play. Great base running by Bacon.
And now we have another bases loaded situation with Tommy Nichols up at the plate. He is DHing for Kenny Sullivan today, who is the starting second baseman. Hernandez, first pitch on the way, just missed. So St. Ignatius starting to sit on pins and needles here. And that's just the fans, because they're seeing some very, very unusually mistake-prone baseball right now.
Third error of the game so far for St. Ignatius.
As the count goes to 2-0, Willow Glen is starting to sense that there is a bit of a rally in store, and rightfully so, because after Nichols, we could have Toscano come up, and that's a strike. And if that does happen, Willow Glen may have successfully batted around in this inning.
Well, I like that Nichols was taking there till he got a strike. He walked on his first at-bat.
Nichols with a swing and a miss. So that's got to help Hernandez a little bit. The count's now 2-2.
Given there have been 2 hits, 2 errors, and a walk in this inning, if Hernandez gets out of it with just those 2 runs, that's a huge victory for St. Ignatius.
No question. Yet another test of his makeup on the mound. Swing and a miss by Nichols. And the Wildcats get out with very minimal damage, but they do fall behind. 2-1 at the end of 3, but if you saw this whole bottom of the third inning, it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, and I think both teams would say right now, Philip, that they've had opportunities where they could have had more runs up on the board, but they were unable to convert. Exactly. Folks, do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you are enjoying here today? Well, tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. You can cover all your sporting events, but it's not just sporting events. It could be choir. It could be the the debate team. It could be a principal's message, an athletic director's message. Heck, put your biology lecture up on our platform. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP. Of course, sports is the focus, but whatever you'd like to include on your school page is available on playonsports.com. Again, playonsports.com/SBP.
Thank you, Jeff. We are now going into the fourth inning. Philip Kern alongside Jeff Kurtz, bringing you the CCS Division II Baseball Championship.
It's been a fun one so far.
It has, absolutely. Although, for the record, though, biology was never my favorite class,
Okay.
so that probably would be my first choice for broadcasting. But it is up to anybody.
I don't know how we do play-by-play for the biology lecture.
Well, if it was a dissection day, maybe.
Yeah,
and what a hit to Kenny Corey, who fields it off a one hop, and that was Jack Stinn throwing the bat down in frustration, and rightfully so. First out of the inning, I should say, on one pitch.
Nice job by Corey. Quick reactions to knock that ball down and then not rush. Mm-hmm. Take your time. Stinn had barely gotten out of the batter's box. He found the ball. He recovered. Good quick toss over to Riley to complete the play.
And the first pitch to Ostrowski is inside for ball one.
Corey has found his release point and is in a good arm slot right now. Every pitch is coming in the same way from the same location, but you don't know what you're getting.
And Ostrowski fouls that one off. It's now 1-1. And the thing is, with Corey, he does have that real low three-quarter sidearm release, so there's a little bit extra involved in order to find that correct arm slot, as you were saying.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
1-1 pitch on the way. This one is popped up. Looks like Jimmy Riley's calling for it. He will get there, and that's out number 2.
Well, that shows how much the wind is wreaking havoc on the baseball. And the breeze here at San Jose Municipal Stadium, all the flags blowing. And Riley was in foul territory and ended up in fair territory making that catch. And then he probably traveled a good 10 feet from his left to his right at the end of that play.
While the wind is wreaking havoc on the ball, it is making for a nice day out here. So you take the pluses with the minuses.
Oh, sure. We're sitting in the broadcast booth. These poor guys have to catch these fly balls.
First pitch to Foster is outside for ball 1.
It's all easy from up in here, folks.
Oh, of course. Absolutely is. But we get to describe the action to you and have fun doing it, too.
It makes you realize how good the professionals are.
This one's fouled way back, and I think, Jeff, you may have had a hand on that one there for a second.
I didn't bring my glove, though, so I'm relying on our producer, Kevin Smith, to throw his body between us and the baseball. But, getting back to that point, the professional players, you see them make what look like routine plays. But it's a wonder anybody ever gets a hit, given how well and how quickly outfielders and infielders close to the baseball.
Absolutely. And just the discipline to try to track it while it's going on.
Yeah.
2-1 count to Foster. Corey from the stretch. Here's the pitch, and way inside. It's now 3-1. So Foster taking a page out of the Willow Glen playbook and working the count on Corey.
Good idea. See if you can get something manufactured with 2 down in the inning.
Of course, Foster has singled his first time up. 3-1 pitch on the way, and he loses him, so it's ball 4.
Well, Corey had retired 8 in a row, going back to the sacrifice bunt by Rob Emery in the second inning, and sometimes that's all it takes. You said out of the Willow Glen playbook and taking into an account, there were 2 outs in the second inning when Hernandez walked 2 straight, and he got himself out of trouble, but that may have bled into the third inning when Willow Glen has taken the lead.
The first pitch on the way to Emery, speaking of which, is outside for ball 1.
No official at-bats yet in the game for Emery with that sacrifice bunt where he was tagged out by the third baseman, Justin Bruce, while he was running to first base. And I'll say that again, folks. The third baseman charged in, grabbed the ball, ran over, and tagged out Emery as he was running to first base. It's not something you see every day.
No, it definitely was. It was a very unusual fielding of a bunt if I'd ever seen one. As Emery fouls that one away, hopefully no one was parked in that street area. Of course, it's been a busy day around here in San Jose. Of course, San Jose State having their graduation this morning caused a very interesting traffic jam here and around this neighborhood. But we are here, and the pitch is outside for 2-1. And thankfully, it's going to be a long day of baseball here at Municipal Stadium. So
we'll miss all that traffic going out.
I'm sensing sarcasm in your voice.
Well, no, I'm hoping we are. No, that's actually.
Oh, okay.
That's hope is what you're hearing.
Oh, okay. I like that better. 2-1 count to Emery. The pitch on the way. Looks fouled off, and Riley giving chase. He won't get there. Counts now 2-2.
But for those of you who are planning on coming out later on today for maybe the Division III game, which is scheduled to begin at 4, or the Division I game at 7, take that into account because it was a good 45 minutes from the freeway to San Jose Municipal Stadium and what would normally be about 5 to 10.
Throw back to first as Corey is keeping tabs on Foster. But, of course, I was taking my usual route to the stadium, and my usual left turn was blocked. And there is a ball hit into left, and Trailer looked like he might have lost it for a second. Does take a nice route to the ball and grabs it out of the air. So that is the third out. So no harm done from the walk. One left on for the Wildcats. We're going to the bottom of the fourth. Willow Glen up 2-1.
Nice drive by Rob Emery. And the ball looked like it was actually going to go further than it did. So there's one where the wind might have knocked it down a little bit. Runners in motion with 2 outs. A good idea to send them, but a nice job by Willow Glen staying out of that jam in the 4th inning. And now we got a new pitcher on the mound for St. Ignatius.
Ah, yes, we do.
Is that Andrew Casella out there? No, excuse me. That is going to be, well, we'll find out for you, folks. I'll go check with our official score and be back with you in just a moment.
And while Jeff is going to get that pertinent information, just to give you a recap of what's been going on here at Municipal Stadium, the scoring got started here in the 1st inning with Justin Locke getting things going. Or Jason Locke, I beg your pardon. A sac fly to left in the 1st inning to get St. Ignatius on the board. And then Willow Glen responds with a 2-spot in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And it was not your conventional 2-spot. I mean, there were errors. There were just a stringing of hits together. Just everything you could have expected without the big hit.
Well, Matt Crook is now your pitcher. Number 13 in our scorecard. Number 31 on the mound. Number 1 in your hearts. But, yeah, he's wearing 31 today, not 13. So Crook out there, and he will throw. And then batting for Hernandez as the designated hitter. He'll just convert over to the pitcher's spot and stay in that 3rd spot in the order for St. Ignatius.
So now with that change, here is Matt Toscano leading off the 4th inning. Crook's first pitch, way outside for ball 1. Or as Bob Euchre would say, just a bit outside.
Bob Euchre. That guy is fun to listen to.
Oh, he is. Toscano showing bunt and pulls it back, and the count goes to 1-1. Of course, if you weren't familiar with Bob Euchre being the Brewers broadcaster, I'm sure even the casual moviegoer would recognize him from the Major League movies. And he was just as hilarious there, too. 1-1 count. It is now 2-1 to Toscano.
They took a survey, actually, of Major League players and asked them what their favorite baseball movie is. And generationally, the younger set favoring The Sandlot.
Interesting, yeah.
Given they grew up on that.
Hey, I am from that generation. I did grow up on The Sandlot, a very good movie. But I'll tell you, once I got a hold of Major League, my whole world changed.
I don't know if anyone's ever said that about that movie before. But
well, I probably wouldn't say whole world changed, but the hierarchy of favorite baseball
there you
movies.
go.
There we go. That's probably a little better. I probably oversold it a little. 2-2 count to Toscano, and he gets rung up. Strike 3.
Nice pitch right there by Crook to get that first out of the inning. Only the 2nd strikeout of the game by St. Ignatius pitchers. Meanwhile, the book closed on Jonathan Hernandez. 3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned. A strikeout, 3 walks.
Speaking of pitchers, here's Kenny Corey. He grounds one right to 2nd. That's Christian Santos with the throw to 1st. And that is out number 2.
Well, Crook is such a lockdown pitcher. Coming in this 4th inning and wanting to keep it right at 2-1. And if he can keep these Willow Glen batters handcuffed, that just puts more pressure on the pitching staff and the defense for Willow Glen to maintain that 1-run advantage.
Crook now facing John Riley. Pitches way outside for ball 1. And you were talking about how Crook is a sort of a lockdown pitcher. How about a 1.84 ERA in 49 and a third innings? That's pretty good lockdown numbers.
Is.
As the pitch gets the inside corner, it's now 1-1. And just to go further, in 49 and a third innings, how about 69 strikeouts?
That's incredible. Well,
that's pretty good.
He certainly has more velocity than does Hernandez.
1-1 pitch. He's having a little bit of issues control-wise, though,
well,
even with the great numbers coming in.
You know, he's got to settle in and find his release point as well. I mean, this is only his third batter, and Corey and Toscano was at 2-2, but Corey swung at the first pitch, so Crook's still getting his rhythm and breaking a sweat out there.
2-1 pitch on the way, and it gets the inside corner, strike two, and John Riley not exactly happy with that call.
Well, that ball looked like it dove into the inside corner of the plate, and Riley was thinking he had ball three, and now he's in a hole.
So now Riley, who's had a great career with the Willow Glen varsity baseball program, 2-2 count, and Crook way outside on the other way. So it's now 3-2, and I mention a great career because in some of Coach Mike Riley's comments, said John in his career has 23 home runs and 103 RBIs.
Wow, that's a great season when you extend that out over an entire career.
And Riley will take ball four, so he'll be the first guy on for Willow Glen in this fourth inning. And now it'll be Justin Bruce.
Well, you see Crook battling his control a little bit, and that can make things hard on the hitter as well. He had pinpoint accuracy on 2 pitches. Everything else was way outside, so you really don't know what you're getting when you step into the box. Am I going to get the one that dives to the inside corner, or am I going to get the one that's a foot outside?
Crook gets that one to the outside. It's now 1-0. I mean, you can't even say he's effectively wild because if he's in, it's in there, but it's not even he's like narrowly missing the strike zone.
Yeah, it's all or nothing right now for Crook.
1-0, and Bruce had to back up a little bit, do the whole buckle the knee routine. It's now 2-0. Not really too sure what to expect out of the speed of John Riley, normally the catcher, so you wouldn't expect him to be much of a stolen base threat.
He's not taking a big lead over at first.
Crook gives him a look, and a swing and a miss by Bruce. I think he wanted to take that one into the next zip code.
Well, he did get a double in his last at-bat on a well-hit ball to left field. But if it were me, given how wild Crook has been, I would have been taking till I got a called strike, even as the 4-hitter in the order.
2-1 count. Riley does go. The throw down to second is not going to be anywhere close. So I stand corrected.
That's right. John Riley just blew up that catcher stereotype with the foot speed down to second base and the stolen bag. And now a runner in scoring position. And that pitch was a ball as well. So the count's now 3-1 on Bruce. This is a big-time hitter's count for the cleanup hitter.
So now Riley with that stolen base makes his way to second. Bruce in that upright stance, 3-1. And a swing and a miss on an outside corner pitch.
Crook has got a lot of movement, natural movement on his fastball. That started to go in and tailed out.
You saw Bruce going fishing for that one. 3-2 count, 2 outs in the inning. Riley is at second. The pitch from Crook, and it's fouled off to the right. And hopefully no cars hit. Now, it's a very interesting setup of how Municipal Stadium goes. It's right here on the corner of Center and Alma, but you see a lot of foul balls going over this canvas here beyond the backstop, and there is a street with a fair amount of cars parked out there.
Yeah, right on the street is San Jose Municipal Stadium.
3-2 pitch, swing and a miss by Bruce. He goes down, and that is going to take care of it. So a little bit of a rocky start for Crook, but he does get the job done and hangs a 0 on there. We are going to the top of the 5th inning. Willow Glen still ahead 2-1 here on Play On Sports coverage of the CCS Division II Baseball Championship.
Folks, the Central Coast section season is winding down, but that doesn't mean you can't catch all the great action from games we covered throughout the season in the Central Coast section, and there have been a lot of them, from girls volleyball to soccer. We've had great football games, basketball. We've covered wrestling, and into the spring with track, baseball, and softball. Folks, we've even had badminton championship highlights that we're going to be putting up on our website. Every single championship event covered here on playonsports.com. And while you've got a couple months before the football season starts up again in late August, you'll have plenty of opportunity to relive all those great moments from the 2012-2013 sports season here on playonsports.com. Central Coast section action available all year long right here on our website. And folks, don't forget, we've got other games coming your way from other sections within the state of California. Sac Joaquin section baseball, 6 games on Memorial Day on Monday. Invite you to join us for those. And then we wrap up with North Coast section baseball and softball next Friday and Saturday. 12 games for you over 2 days. And that will conclude our high school sports coverage in the state of California for this year.
So, Jeff, while we're on the subject, I should probably ask you, what's been your most memorable moment for this high school season?
Well, I'll tell you what, I couldn't dig all the way back into the fall, and there were certainly plenty, but this week covering Sac Joaquin section softball and Central section softball, just this week alone, 2 walk-off singles to win games and championships for the home team. So, and when they were down by a run, 4-3 in one game and 7-6 in the other. So it wasn't like we were tied going into the 7th inning. So hopefully we'll be able to give you something like that today. I've also got a baseball game for the northern section that was pretty memorable. I'll tell you about that in just a minute.
It's Dennis Shaniger leading off for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. It's the top of the 5th inning. Kenny Corey still going strong for the Willow Glen Rams. 1-0 pitch on the way. It's right down the middle for strike 1.
Corey has been so solid so far. Since that first inning, just 2 base runners in the last 3 innings.
He's in a zone right now. 1-1 pitch on the way. Shaniger showing bunt and pulls it back in time, but a little bit of grumbling from the Willow Glen masses. I think they probably wanted to strike. They didn't think he pulled it back in time.
Is there ever a good call when it goes against your team? I don't think so.
Usually not. 2-1 pitch, and Shaniger pops this one up. Let's see if a fan makes a play. No.
I'll tell you, though, it's not, you see those guys reach up and grab a ball at a baseball game, a line drive. They're very excited. Then the adrenaline wears off, and the reality kicks in, and that is a bruise that lasts for a little while.
But a game-used ball is probably worth the bruise. They'd probably be the first to tell you.
Could very well be.
A full count now to Shaniger. Pitch on the way from Corey, and it is fouled off to the left side.
Nice job protecting by Shaniger. Not a pitch that he was really going to do a whole lot with, but sometimes if you just foul it off and keep yourself alive, make the pitcher throw some more pitches, they'll get tired and give you something that you can really do something with 2 strikes.
Shaniger definitely in protect mode on his 3-2 count, and he's just going to go right up the middle, and Toscano can't make the play, and so it is a leadoff single for Shaniger.
Toscano trying to make the diving catch, but he did the smart thing while he was doing it. That was a controlled dive. Here's what I mean. He didn't go all out and throw himself out there, and if he doesn't make the play, the ball's going to get by him and roll a ways, and now Shaniger is circling the bases. He actually got the glove up and knocked it down as he was making the dive. So a very smart play by the center fielder Toscano on that one.
Toscano, of course, a 2-sport star for the Willow Glen Rams. He was playing quarterback for their football team this fall. And the throw gets by Jimmy Riley, and Shaniger is going to go dash for second, and he is going to get there. So Kenny Corey with a rare mental error there. And now he's got a runner in scoring position. That is definitely going to be an error.
Yep, the first one of the game against Willow Glen, and smartly heading out to talk to his pitcher is John Riley. You already threw over there once. Shaniger has got good foot speed, but you don't need to, the quick throw over there, he'd barely taken a step or 2 off the bag. Your odds of getting him out there are not high.
No.
Keeping him close, yes, but probably getting him out, not likely. And of course, now you've got a runner at second.
And, of course, now the double play threat is gone.
It is, and that's the leadoff batter getting on board, so a lot of opportunity for Steinberg.
Steinberg, whoa, he had to take a dive down on that one. I think Kenny Corey just wanted to make sure he was staying awake.
Well, he was leaning into bunt. And sometimes you don't want that guy bunting on the sacrifice to get too comfortable. Guys have been squaring very early for St. Ignatius.
So now you see Jimmy Riley playing way in as Steinberg looks to bunt, and it's now 2-0.
We'll see if that changes the call from our third base coach. And now we got time being called by Willow Glen, and they're going to talk things over with Kenny Corey, who'd really been cruising along through 4 innings. While we got a moment, folks, I mentioned some other memorable games. We're talking baseball. We had a great one in the northern section, Division II. last Saturday, as a matter of fact, just a week ago. The Wairika Miners and Sutter Huskies in a rematch of last year's Division II championship. Wairika was up 7-0 in the second inning. Then they were up 7-1, 7-3, 7-6. Took an 11-6 lead into the sixth inning and then gave up 9 runs on 2 hits. We're down 15-11 in the seventh. Hit a 2-run homer and got the tying run to the plate with 2 down. He struck out to end it.
And here's Steinberg into the right center gap. This could be a little bit of trouble. Here comes Shaniger around third. He is going to score. Toscano's throw into second is not going to be in time. And Steinberg's RBI double has tied this game up.
Well, Steinberg looking to make a little magic of his own. Ties the game with that ringing double to right center field. Great job. He was showing bunt. He got it 2-0. Had a quick conversation with his coach when Corey was having the discussion on the mound with his manager, and they went away from the bunt, and that's a great move by Coach Stetcher.
Now Christian Santos, he's showing bunt. This is a good one. Corey fields it, throws it over to first where Kenny Sullivan was covering, and that is the first down, but it does get Steinberg over to third.
So now you need is a sacrifice fly, and you've got this game where you've got the lead back.
And I can guarantee you St. Ignatius is chomping at the bit right now.
Well, especially with Matt Crook up. And now they're just going to intentionally walk Crook. And this at the high school level, you can just declare we're going to intentionally walk him. And actually, I like that call because it saves 4 tosses to home plate. And if Major League Baseball is looking at ways to conserve some time, that would be a great one. You don't have an intentional walk every game, but
exactly,
certainly saving a pitcher from throwing 4 balls to the catcher would be a good way to go. Just declare it.
Well, knowing how slow Major League Baseball is to implement change, it might take a few years for them to do that, but it is a worthy idea. As the first pitch to Locke is low for ball 1. Yeah, I mean, how long did it take for them to finally implement some sort of instant replay?
Yeah, that's still being worked out.
Exactly.
There's been some resistance to that on the part of some umpires.
1-0 pitch, and this one's grounded right to third. And this throw to second for 1, throw to first, 2, a double play.
Wow, Kenny Sullivan, what a play. The high throw, Sullivan has to come down with a baseball, step on the bag, and then hustle it over to first base, and he just got the runner. Sullivan, a sophomore, that was a huge play defensively.
And that definitely stops the bleeding on that one because it looks like it's going to be. It is a tie game now, so
yeah,
a little bit of a confusion here as they're getting some kinks on the scoreboard worked out. But it is a tie game now as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and it's 2-2 between St. Ignatius and Willow Glen.
Well, I can see why you got confused because 6 went up on the board for St. Ignatius, and I know that as much as their fans would like that, that's not what happened. But let's get back to that. Sullivan goes across. Here's a sharply hit ball. I was actually to the third baseman, and grabbing it was Justin Bruce. He quickly looked at the runner at third who was staying put. That was Steinberg. And then he threw to second base. But in that moment when he looked, his feet weren't quite set, and he threw high. Sullivan coming down with the ball, steps on the bag with his right foot, and got the ball over to the first baseman, Riley, so quickly they were still able to get Jason Locke by a good step. I mean, that was just a fantastic play by the sophomore, and that's his only role today, defense. He's being hit for by Tommy Nichols. Well, if that's all you're being asked to do, make a big play if you get a chance, and Kenny Sullivan just made a huge one.
And leading off for Willow Glen here in the bottom of the 5th is Tucker Bacon. He is 0 for 2 on the day. However, he did reach base via a pitcher's error. And speaking of pitchers, Crook is out there for a second inning of work, and it's already 1-0.
Well, if I'm Willow Glen, I am taking till I get a strike on Crook. Every single batter.
And so far, that looks to be Bacon's approach as the count is now 2-0.
I think that's got to be consistent, even on a hitter's count. Make him make pitches. He has shown he's been, at least in his first inning, he struck out 2, walked 1, but he was a little bit all over the place.
And the pitch is way inside, so Bacon already with a 3-0 count. on Matt Crook, and really Crook has been feast or famine when it comes to that strike zone. 3-0 on the way, and that nips the outside corner for strike one.
I might even think about taking another one here as well. Again, you're the leadoff guy. You want to get on. You're pushing into the later innings, tie ball game. You've got 9 outs to work with. You need base runners.
3-1 pitch on the way, and he does walk Bacon to start.
Good at bat for Tucker Bacon. Not getting anxious there on 3-1. Make Crook come to you. Yeah, I know 3-2 with Crook is not a great count to be in, but you make him throw 6 pitches to get you out, even if he strikes you out. I think that's a good at bat anyway, especially if he's having trouble with his control. And in this case, it works into a walk for Bacon.
So runner on first. Trailer does show bunt, and it is foul. So it looks like, see, this has been interesting. Willow Glen and St. Ignatius seem to be kind of playing off each other a little bit. So you're starting to see Willow Glen sort of take a page out of the St. Ignatius playbook here with the sacrifice bunt. St. Ignatius trying to adopt the Willow Glen patience at the plate approach. So both these teams are playing off each other here. They're picking things up and adjusting as we go. And the throwback to Crook, it gets by Jason Locke, and now there goes Bacon to second. He's going to take the extra 90 feet. He's going to go to third, and he will stop right there. So another mental error for the St. Ignatius Wildcats.
Well,
and it costs them 180 feet now.
Yeah, 2 consecutive innings. Pitchers throwing over to first base, or excuse me, 2 half innings. Pitchers throwing over to first base and throwing it away from the first baseman. And that's exactly what allowed St. Ignatius to get a runner in scoring position. The leadoff man got aboard. Shaniger got a single, but then got to second base on a similar play from Corey, trying to pick him off at first base. Now Crook trying to pick Bacon off of first base, and Crook ends up sending Bacon all the way to third.
And so now, even with an 0-1 count, Adam Traylor has a great opportunity to give Willow Glen the lead again. He came into this game with a .338 average before the game started. And that pitch is a strike. It's now 0-2.
The infield in for St. Ignatius, and it will be for as long as there's not a force out available at second base and there's less than 1 out.
Bacon trying to, and Traylor pops this bunt up, and it's caught by Emery.
Well, that would have been strike 3 anyway, even if Emery had let it fall in foul territory, because there was an 0-2 count, so there's 1 down.
So an unfortunate error there for Traylor, trying to go after a high fastball. I mean, those are always the worst pitches to try to bunt because you're trying to raise the bat up.
Yep.
And it automatically goes up in the air. So
well, I don't fault the strategy, Philip. No. I mean, an 0-2 count, you don't usually bunt on an 0-2, but trying to get that run in to break this tie against a very tough pitcher in Matt Crook.
You can't really waste your opportunities, and they've got a good one right now with Bacon over third. Jimmy Riley there at forcing the 1-0 count. Crook on the way. Inside corner, that's strike 1, so that evens the count.
The outfield's a little shallow as well, Philip, especially in left with Schoniger. The outfield's playing slightly to right.
1-1 pitch, swing and a miss by Jimmy Riley. It's now 1-2. And of course, Willow Glen has had a major problem in leaving guys on base. Just heading into this one, into this inning, already 8 runners left on base. 1-2 pitch from Crook, swing and a miss by Riley, and the ball goes into the dirt, and they do throw him out. So that is out number 2, and it is going to be up to Hutchings.
Well, one thing when you've got a power pitcher in there and you get yourself in a jam, you're able to get yourself out of a jam because you've got a guy who can strike guys out. And so Crook has done exactly that. You got the one bunt that would have been strike 3 if Emery had let it fall, but Emery made the catch as a catcher. And now the strikeout on Riley.
And now it's Jack Hutchings at the plate. And it's now 1-0.
So Jack Hutchings batting for Joe.
Had to confirm that because I thought Joe was going to be the starting right fielder. As Crook now takes the count to 2-0. course, Jack Hutchings getting a lot more playing time this year than Joe, and he forces a 3-0 count. But coming into this one with a batting average of 106. And so now there's going to be a meeting on the mound.
It's a pitching coach for St. Ignatius going out there to talk to Crook, maybe reminding him that he's not quite out of this yet, and you don't want to let this guy go. Not a lot of damage if you put him at first base, but
no. Thing is, though, when you are a Cinderella team like St. Ignatius has been, you have to have everything going your way, whether it's the breaks during the game or some sort of timely hit. Everything's got to be going your way. And so far, St. Ignatius has been very, very fortunate that Willow Glen hasn't scored more runs than they have.
Yeah. Yeah, and St. Ignatius, they've been road warriors. They had to beat Saratoga on the road, Soledad. They beat Branham here the other day at San Jose Municipal Stadium, but it has been all on the road for St. Ignatius to get to this game.
And on the road for sure, because they commute from San Francisco just to be a part of this.
So it's a bit of a hike.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the count is actually 2-1, not 3-0. So the scoreboard is incorrect. We had it incorrect, folks. Sorry, we'll get that corrected, but our home plate umpire correcting everybody. 2 balls and a strike.
And fouled off by Hutchings. It's now 2-2.
Well, Crook 1 out away from getting out of a self-induced trouble spot. The walk, the error, got the error by him, got the runner over to third base, but he's retired 2.
And that ball is down into the dirt, so now it's a full count. And what an opportunity this would be for Hutchings, who hasn't had much success hitting the ball this year. And then at this point, he would be able to give Willow Glen the lead. 3-2 pitch on the way and way outside, and that's ball 4. So now you've got runners at the corners for Tommy Nichols, who, by the way, is a slightly bigger threat than Hutchings. I mean, it's not a knock on Hutchings per se, but Tommy Nichols, even in
well, actually, Logan Carter is going to come in to pinch hit. So Carter's going to bat for Nichols. So Nichols, 0 for 1 on the day with a walk and a strikeout, is going to be out of the game. And it's Logan Carter, the batter.
Now here's Carter getting his hacks at Crook. Swing and a miss. It's now 0-1. Carter didn't look too comfortable on that swing there.
Well, he looked like he was swinging for a 3-run homer. And against Crook, you don't have to amp up your velocity on your swing. You could just use his velocity and get a nice level swing on the ball.
0-1 pitch to Carter on the way. That gets the inside corner, strike 2. And Carter, sort of the odds stacked against him right now coming into this one, 1 for 22. So an interesting move by Coach Riley to call on Carter in this situation. 0-2 count. Crook gives a look over to first. The pitch on the way outside, ball 1.
Nice job by Carter holding up his swing. Be really easy in an 0-2 hole, trying to make something happen, that you swing at a pitch that's outside the zone. As Rob Emery giving a lot of signals to his middle infielders and outfield, just in case Jack Hutchings is in motion on a 1-2 count.
And really all Carter needs to do is just put one into the shallow outfield, and he'll give Willow Glen the lead. Pitch on the way, and that's going to be grounded right to Santos. It's a very slow grounder, and he'll just take his time, and that will do it for the bottom of the 5th inning. And Willow Glen, again, squanders opportunities. That is now 10 runners left on base through 5 innings, and we are going to go to the top of the 6th in the CCS Division II Baseball Championship, and I will now turn the play-by-play back over to my colleague, Jeff Kurtz.
Thank you very much, Philip Kern. Kevin Smith, our producer today. Dan Stewart providing all the video. This is the first of 3 games we're covering here today on PlayOnSports.com. Glad you are checking in on the action wherever you're following it from around the state of California or around the world. And we have a good one brewing here, a 2-2 ball game. Regardless of what you're seeing up on the scoreboard in the outfield in your picture, it says 4-2 currently. That is inaccurate. It is 2-2. And in the top of the 6th inning, St. Ignatius is going to send up Jack Stinn. Stephen Ostrowski, and Dylan Foster to face Kenny Corey, who is out there for his 6th inning of work. He's done a good job. He's given up just those 2 runs. 6 hits allowed, but he has really scattered those hits. And I think you could probably say, Philip, both teams would tell you offensively at this point they felt they could have added more runs.
Oh,
but
yes.
That's a universal assessment, I think, by both teams because they've left runners on base in just about every inning.
Mm-hmm. They have, but of course Willow Glen has left bunches on base. I mean, 10 left on base through 5 innings. I'm sure Mike Riley is not happy about that.
St. Ignatius has left just 5. Corey's first pitch in there for a strike to Stin. Stin 1 for 2 in the game. He singled to right field in the first inning and then bounced to pitcher in the 4th. That is a beautiful breaking ball on the inside corner for strike 2.
Ooh, that slider just backdoored Stin right there.
The 0-2 is going to hit him. That is not what Corey had in mind for an 0-2 pitch. And Stin is aboard with a gift, a painful gift, but a gift nonetheless. The leadoff man is on, and the batter is Stephen Ostrowski.
Although I think that's a bruise he'll proudly wear if it turns into another CCS title for his St. Ignatius Wildcats. And now you see Riley going out to talk to Corey, trying to calm him down a little bit because he has been prone to some of these really tough situations where it can really mess with a pitcher's focus.
Well, Stin, who was hitting the leg, is just jogging it out while we had time called, and John Riley out to talk to Kenny Corey. Well, at this point in the game, it's get on any way you can. This is the final game of the year for both of these teams. Cheating in at third base, way in at third base, is Justin Bruce anticipating a bunt. Squaring is Ostrowski, the throw over to first base. Ostrowski 0 for 2 today. He hit one to shortstop and a quick toss to Kenny Sullivan ended that inning, and then a pop out to first base.
Of course, Bruce playing way in the infield grass. He is anticipating bunt.
He's even with the pitcher, Corey. And then nothing worse as a third baseman when the guy starts swinging away and you are even with the pitcher's mound.
Yeah, at that point you are praying either for a foul ball or for it's a line drive right to you, or maybe it's a pop-up. You want one of those 3. Otherwise, if it goes over your head, you think, oh my, if I had just played my normal position.
Bruce, if he's in that close, better have the reflexes of a ninja if
exactly.
they're going to be swinging away down there. Another throw over to first base. Thinking maybe a hit and run instead of a bunt situation. The count is 0-1. That one is going to be into the hole, the 5-5 hole for a single. Nice bit of hitting by Ostrowski as his first hit of the game.
Well, if it's of any consolation to Justin Bruce, even if he was playing his normal position, I don't think he would have gotten to it anyway.
No, that was well hit. And the batter is Dylan Foster, who's reached base both times. He has been up in this game. Single to left, stranded at third, and he walked in the 4th, 1 for 1. And now there had been some activity in the Willow Glen bullpen. And Coach Riley out to the mound, and he's looking down that way and talking things over with his pitcher. And Corey is backing as far away from him as possible. I don't think it's because he's afraid of Coach Riley necessarily. I think it's he just doesn't want to give him the baseball and come out of the game.
From the looks of it, it looks like Riley's backing away. I think he's going to leave him in.
All right, well, that's his one visit that he can take. Next time he comes out there, Corey's going to have to come out if it happens in this inning. Now, cheating in at first base is Jimmy Riley. Over at third, Bruce, not in quite as far yet because he might have to make a play at third. The batter, Foster. Everyone's thinking sack bunt. We'll see if it happens.
Well, middle infield, not quite a double play depth.
Popped in the air, and wow, that was fortunate for Foster as it falls between Riley and Riley. Jimmy from first, John from behind the plate. Neither one could get to it.
A very lucky break there for Foster. Of course, I mean, we've seen popped up bunts happen once before earlier today.
And that's just a function of dropping the bat head below the knob of the bat. You got to keep it above that knob, and the ball will go down as opposed to up. This one is outside. 1-1. Nobody out in the inning, first and second for St. Ignatius. A hit batter, a single to left.
If I'm Foster right now, I'm looking at that infield here. They are playing you to bunt. If you've got a way to do that sort of slash bunt where you can look like you're bunting and then put a swing on it, put it right up the middle of the field, that's your good chance there.
Right to Riley. He's going to throw to third, and it's going to be in the dirt. And unable to glove it is Bruce. And on the error, everybody is safe. Not a bad idea by Riley. He had the play at third. A good throw would have gotten Stin coming from second base. But now the bases are loaded.
I think that point, I think Jimmy Riley was starting to get a little bit ambitious there. I mean, and like you said, he picked it up cleanly, and it was a good throw, but Justin Bruce couldn't quite handle it. And he didn't need to make a tag. It was just a forced play, but now you got to bring the infield in. Now you got to have the outfield play shallow, and everybody's on edge.
Rob Emery, the batter. That pitch is outside, ball one. Emery, a sacrifice bunt in the second inning, a fly out to left in the fourth inning. He is 0 for 1. Actually, excuse me, I don't think Emery is hitting right now. Our apologies. It's going to be Nico Giratano. So Giratano, the batter, instead, replacing Emery in the batting order. And he steps in, and welcome to the game, young man. You got the bases loaded and nobody out. That is a breaking ball way inside.
I think at this point, a double play would be a fine elixir right now for what ails Kenny Corey.
One ball, one strike. Excuse me, Philip. Yep.
That's all right.
He does have his back against the wall. This is a pressure situation for the young pitcher. That one right at the feet of Sullivan. He's going to catch it. They're going to throw to first, double play. They got another guy over at second base. They're going to throw there. They got somebody in a rundown. Nobody indicated if it was a line drive. Now they're going to tag him, and he's out, and it's a triple play.
Oh, my word.
Unbelievable. St. Ignatius thought Sullivan had caught the ball cleanly, and instead the umpires rule short hop. Sullivan heads up, throws to home plate for the first out. The catcher Riley throws down to Jimmy Riley for the second out. Riley throws over to second base where Ostrowski had strayed, and then Ostrowski is thrown out at third base. I got to count how many guys actually touched that baseball, but that is a triple play.
My goodness. I think
4-2-3-6-5.
4-2-3-6-5. All right. Man.
Wow.
Now, you want to talk about getting your whole infield involved? That's the way to do it.
Incredible. Whew. I have never seen anything like that. Bases loaded, nobody out, and a triple play ends the threat. And we go to the bottom of the sixth inning, and the score remains tied at 2 apiece.
And while we're talking about this, I mean, you want to talk about good moments. Make sure to stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com postgame show, where we will select our player of the game as well as wrap up all the action from this ball game. That's coming up following the game on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Well, Kenny Sullivan is not hitting today, but he may be a front runner because he turned a great double play the inning before and then initiates a triple play. 2 runs, 7 hits, 4 errors for St. Ignatius. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors for Willow Glen. And it'll be Matt Toscano, Kenny Corey, and John Riley, your scheduled hitters for Willow Glen in the bottom of the 6th inning.
I'm still trying to make sure how many runners were left on base for St. Ignatius. I think I counted about 2.
Crook, first pitch, bounced foul by Toscano. That was just an incredible play. It looked like at first that Sullivan had grabbed the ball cleanly, But instead of waiting for the umpire's call, he threw to home plate, then down to first base for out number 2, and then they had Ostrowski off of second base, and they got him. There's a curveball in for strike 2, and the count's quickly 0-2 on Matt Toscano, who is 0 for 3 today. A ground out to short, fly to right, and caught looking in the 4th inning by Matt Crook.
I think Crook's now starting to get his rhythm a little bit, and fine timing for the St. Ignatius team.
The 0-2, that's a breaking ball just off the plate, 1-2. Boy, it's tough as a left-hander. That ball was coming right at Toscano's shoulder and then breaks all the way down around his knees, but off the outside edge, 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, the best way Matt Crook can handle what just happened to his team offensively is get a quick 1-2-3 with his defense out there. And now the batter is Kenny Corey, who has singled twice and bounced to second. He's scored a run in the game, 2 for 3. And so far he's gone the distance for Willow Glen.
I'm sure he would love to help his own cause right now.
Fouls that one away.
And to this point, he really has. I mean, he's 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. They've been solid singles towards center field. So really all he has to do is just set the table for the guys behind him.
It's amazing the stat you gave last inning, Philip. After this pitch, we'll talk a little bit more about it. That one's going to be inside as Corey was trying to wear that one, but couldn't get the leg in front of the baseball to get on first base. The count's 1-1. 10 runners left on base by Willow Glen so far in the game, but they only have 3 hits.
Yeah.
So that points to the errors, the walks that Willow Glen's been able to generate in this game.
They're just stringing stuff together.
The 1-1 is upstairs, 2-1.
But you have to wonder how many more times are they going to have opportunities like that before they actually punch one through, because St. Ignatius is not going to stick at 2 runs for very long.
That one's on the outside corner, and the count is even at 2-2. 1 down in the inning. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Division II championship game, our first one of 3 today, and it's been a fun one so far and a tight ball game. Up and in. The count goes full with 1 down in the inning.
See Kenny Corey thinking like a pitcher in that batter's box, noticing that Crook has been a little bit uneven with his control and wanting to work the count on him.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 retired on strikeouts, and Crook has struck out 5 in 2 2/3. And the batter will be John Riley. Riley reached on an error by the right fielder in the first, or excuse me, the left fielder in the first inning. Popped out to first, walked and stole a base in the 4th, and was left there in scoring position.
Well, Riley, of course, is very, very accomplished in his Rams baseball career. Would love to start a rally here, if nothing else.
That pitch is way outside. 1-0. St. Ignatius in the top of the 7th inning. We'll have the 9 hitter in the order, then back to the top, 1-2. St. Ignatius, oh, this ball is hit high in the air to left field, fading back on it, back on it, back on it to the wall, and it is out of here. John Riley has given his team the lead. John Riley goes yard over the Santa Clara Valley Contractors sign in left field. And Willow Glen, with just their 4th hit of the game, has taken a 3-2 lead.
How about that for clutch? When you can't start a rally, just put one through yourself.
Runners left on base? What runners left on base? Here's a swing and a miss by Justin Bruce, who's 1 for 3 in the game. With a double and a run scored, he has struck out and also flied to right.
And the shelf life for the Wildcats just got sliced in half now.
This ball is low and in. 1-1. What a shot by John Riley. Took a fastball deep. At first it looked like Schoniger thought it was headed right to him, and he kept going back, 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 and ran out of room. This one's up the middle. Crook on one hop. Nice reflexes. Tosses it into the dirt, and on is Bruce. And the wheels coming off the apple cart a little bit for Matt Crook right now.
The mental errors have just been unbelievable for St. Ignatius. I mean, I'm counting at least 3 errors here. on my score sheet.
Well, that's 5 in the game.
Whew. Oh, my.
And now the batter, Tucker Bacon. Bacon flied to right, reached on an error by the pitcher in the 3rd inning. He walked and was stranded at 3rd. 1-0. Outside corner, strike 1.
And you are correct. 5 errors for the Wildcats. And the St. Ignatius faithful stunned right now.
The 1-1 pitch, there goes the runner, hit and run, line drive. Nice catch by Ostrowski, ends the inning. But not before John Riley capitalizes on the inning-ending triple play with the bases loaded that Willow Glen executes in the top of the 6th. Riley hits a home run in the bottom of the 6th. And Willow Glen is just 3 outs away from a Division II title in almost improbable and impossible fashion. Stay with us, folks, right here on PlayOnSports.com. We're your destination for high school sports and incredible action here on the Diamond at San Jose Municipal Stadium right here in the Central Coast section.
And fans, do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here this afternoon? Tell your school to sign up for the Play on Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Jeff Kurtz alongside Philip Kern. I should almost say a flabbergasted Jeff Kurtz alongside Philip Kern. Cannot believe what we've been witnessing here just in the last inning. What will that give us in the 7th? Well, we will soon find out, and it is going to be all on Dennis Schoniger.
It's been worth the price of admission, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Dennis Schoniger to be followed by Logan Steinberg and Christian Santos, and I'm sure Matt Crook would love to get a crack at it in this inning. If he can, he is going to be the 4th batter scheduled in the order to hit. If they can get that far, the Wildcats, Kenny Corey is going to start Schoniger out with a strike on the inside corner.
And you know Corey wants to finish this one off.
Slider, strike 2. That is a hook.
That slider has been bending so well throughout this entire time. And the fact that it's still got that sharp break, even in the 7th inning of work, impressive.
The pitch, that's high, 1-2. This is the last opportunity for St. Ignatius. They have 7 hits in the game, but they have not been able to push more than 2 across. Slider just off the outside edge. Great discipline by Dennis Schoniger to stay away from that one.
I don't know how he laid off that one because that was right in that strike zone. Corey's been staying in that strike zone for most of the game, so he's not been wild.
That one is going to be bounced foul down the third base line. Schoniger, that slider was in the zone, and then it wasn't, and he held up.
That's such a tough pitch to lay off of, and now Schoniger really has to be in protect mode. He's in a 2-2 count and really has to force Corey to try to pitch into his strength.
This one is going to be bounced foul again.
Another protect mode swing there.
Schoniger is doing a good job staying with it. The count is 2-2. That is almost going to clip Schoniger in the jersey. If he was wearing a large instead of a medium, he'd be on first base right now, but instead the count goes full.
That slider didn't quite have enough break of what Corey wanted, so now it runs the count full.
This one is going to be low, and the leadoff man is aboard. So Schoniger, who was 1 for 2 in the game with a run scored in the 5th, adds a walk to that, and it'll be Logan Steinberg, the batter. That is one thing that will get the St. Ignatius dugout fired up, is getting that leadoff man aboard. And now the question is, do you lay down a sacrifice bunt, give up the out, and put a runner in scoring position? And meanwhile, we've got time being called by Willow Glen. And will Corey be staying in the baseball game? Steinberg so far doubled and drove in what was the tying run in the 5th. He's also grounded to short and to second, 1 for 3. And Corey is going to come out of the game. 6+ innings He's going to move to second base. Sullivan's going to go over to third base. And my guess is that means Justin Bruce is going to come in this game. And Bruce is going to come into pitch. So we'll get that all straightened out for you, folks. Bruce is now your pitcher. Sullivan moves over to third. And Kenny Corey goes over to second base. So the book is not closed on Kenny Corey. He is responsible for the runner at first. He is currently the pitcher of record, but he cannot lose the game. 6+ innings for him. 7 hits given up. At the moment, just 2 runs, but he's hoping that Justin Bruce can close this one out.
And really, Justin Bruce has been really the standout pitcher. I mean, as much confidence as they had in Kenny Corey, and rightfully so, Justin Bruce comes in 8-6, a 1.68 ERA, and how about this? 79 1/3 innings pitched, 85 strikeouts. So as good as Kenny Corey has been, Justin Bruce has been sort of the ace in the sleeve of Willow Glen head coach Mike Riley.
Kenny Corey, 6+ innings, 7 hits. So far, 2 runs, both earned. Didn't strike anybody out, hit a batter, walked 3, one of them intentionally. Logan Steinberg, 1 for 3 on the game with a run batted in and a double. Runner at first is Schoniger. He's got good speed, short lead. Bruce throws over. And Schoniger is in easily. He's standing up. He's probably got another 2.5 steps if he wants it over at first base.
And Schoniger does have that good foot speed as well.
Steinberg showing bunt. He's going to take high. Now it's Sullivan who is charging at third base, as opposed to Bruce, who would be almost right on top of Steinberg if he was still over at third. Outside corner, strike 1. That time Steinberg not showing bunt. The outfield is playing Steinberg slightly to right. Medium depth, double play up the middle. Corey at second, the shortstop Tucker Bacon. And Steinberg steps out to look down for the sign from his third base coach. This is baseball at its finest right now, folks. The cat and mouse game. A quick throw over, Schoniger back in, standing up. You've got defense shifting, signals coming from the Willow Glen dugout down the third base side. You've got strategy from the St. Ignatius third base coach to his hitter. A runner with a short lead over at first with nobody out. That one is just a little bit up, and we're going to have an appeal, and a nice job by Steinberg checking his swing. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike.
With Bruce, you're noticing he's more the traditional over-the-top delivery as opposed to Corey, that low 3/4 release, but Bruce definitely with a little more zip on his fastball. Corey, his specialty is more the breaking ball. So we'll see how the Wildcats adjust their approach.
This one is going to be lined into left field for a base hit, heading towards the gap, hustling to third and to second. The ball over the cutoff man. They might have had a play at second base. Instead, on the double, the second of the game by Steinberg. Once again, St. Ignatius threatening in this baseball game.
And my, how things have turned now. And Steinberg, it looked like he was going to leave the game here for a second, but no, I wouldn't think he would leave at this point. He is going to stay in. He's got the good foot speed, and now Santos is licking his chops right now because just a little hit into that shallow, maybe even into the gap, can put St. Ignatius ahead. So Cinderella, it's not quite midnight yet.
The infield in. The pitch, up and in, ball 1. Matt Crook in the on-deck circle. I momentarily had a thought maybe you put Santos on first base, but no. You try to get the out here if you can. Then you put Crook on first base and pitch to Jason Locke. But first you got to get this out, and the last 3 outs of a baseball game sometimes are the toughest. This one is high, and the count is 2-0, and trotting out to the mound is the catcher John Riley to talk things over with Justin Bruce, who has been pressed into a tough situation. A runner at first and nobody out, trying to close out a championship. He gives up a double.
Was really pressed into duty because Corey walked the first guy he saw, but really a fine outing by Kenny Corey, and now Justin Bruce, who's really been the better pitcher of the two, at least as far as the whole season goes. He's now in a tough spot.
Inside corner, strike 1. Whatever Riley said to him pays dividends on that pitch. The count is 2 balls and a strike. Jimmy Riley is your first baseman. Corey at second. Bacon third, or short. There's a swing and a miss for strike 2. And Sullivan down at third base. The infield in. The outfield medium depth. Christian Santos 1 for 2 today with a sacrifice bunt. A single, a run scored. He's grounded out to first. The 2-2. Curveball, just getting a piece of it. Santos, nice hitting there, protecting with 2 strikes.
Well, he has to be in protect mode now. And it's kind of tough because you're in that 2-strike mode. You got to be protective and selective at the same time. It's a real fine balance he's trying to walk right now.
Here's Bruce to the plate. Low, and the count goes full. First base is open, but you'd love to save that for Matt Crook, who's already been intentionally walked once in this game. A big 3-2 payoff pitch coming right here for Bruce. In the dirt, ball 4. And the bases are full. St. Ignatius has been here before, just last inning, and they were wiped out with a triple play. Matt Crook is the batter. He is doubled. He is grounded out. He's been intentionally walked. 1 for 2. And the infield is in. And he's got a great chance to give his team the lead on this at-bat. Just off the inside edge, ball 1. And nowhere to put him.
And if you're St. Ignatius, you got to feel really good about how this has set up. Crook is basically your best hitter, the guy with the most pop in your lineup. He's got the bases loaded, and Jason Locke is right behind him. No slouch of a hitter himself.
This one's going to be bounced foul. The count is 1-1.
And, of course, you've got a ace pitcher in Justin Bruce who's having a little bit of a difficult time finding the strike zone. So everything's stacking up to be towards St. Ignatius' favor to take the lead here. And all he needs is a gapper.
Bruce comes set. Fouled away. 1-2. So now Crook in a hole. Really wanted to do something here. He took one inside and bounced it foul down first, then had one outside that he fouled straight back. A strikeout would be huge for Justin Bruce. The pitch to Crook. Outside and low, 2-2.
Try to see if he can get Crook to go fishing for that one, and the bait not appealing enough, apparently.
No, the fishing rod stayed on the shoulder. Time called. The outfield is now shading Crook slightly to left, which is where he went with 2 strikes to get his double in the first inning. Infield in, but playing him to pull. Breaking ball swung on and missed, strike 3. What a huge pitch by Justin Bruce, and there's 1 down.
A huge strikeout, and that's got to be a big relief for this Rams defense. Now what they can do, if Bruce is able to keep the ball down, he can pitch for a double play here. So the Rams infield can now actually play a little bit more conventionally here.
Well, they're going to do corners in and double play depth up the middle. The batter is Locke. He's got an RBI sacrifice fly as he takes strike 1 in the outside corner. He's grounded into a double play. He's also grounded to short. 0 for 2 with a run batted in. Curveball just inside, 1-1. Almost hit the batter. And if he does that, we got a tie game. 3-2 is our score. We're in the top of the 7th inning. 1 down.
That curveball, it's a nice break on it, too.
Hit towards the shortstop. Could be 2 if they don't get it. The run is in. The throw is wide. And St. Ignatius scores. And we're tied at 3. Kenny Corey on the turn, throws wide of first base, and what could have been an ending double play has extended this ball game.
Wow, and Willow Glen just flabbergasted right now, probably as well as we are up here with just all the twists and turns of this game. And now we're going to get a pinch runner over at first. That looks to be Dylan Holborn Welsh, looking to get some extra foot speed on the base paths.
So Holborn Welsh in to run as the courtesy runner for the catcher, the first baseman, Jason Locke. And the batter is Jack Stinn. Stinn singled, bounced to the pitcher, hit by a pitch, 1 for 2. And don't forget, there's now runners at the corners. So you can't get down on yourselves if you're Willow Glen, because St. Ignatius could take the lead. Ball 1 outside, but boy, Bruce got the pitch he wanted. He got the double play ball he wanted, but he didn't get both of them.
And how interesting is it that Kenny Corey, who got him to this point, makes the errant throw to keep the game alive?
Well, we've had 8 errors in this game, 5 by St. Ignatius, 3 by Willow Glen. This is in the dirt. Nice job by Riley smothering that one. And the count is 2-0. What a game this has been. Back and forth, twists and turns. And Willow Glen trying to keep it here even. Strike on the inside corner. 2 balls and a strike, 2 down in the inning.
And you compare now to how Willow Glen felt going into the 7th inning. They just got a home run from their big bat and John Riley. They thought with Justin Bruce coming in, they were putting themselves in great position to win this one.
This is fouled back and the count's 2-2. Willow Glen's going to send up Adam Traylor, Jimmy Riley, and then we'll see if it's either Joe or Jack Hutchings. But we still have to get through the top of the 7th inning. And Jack Stinn can give his team a lead with a base hit. The runner at third is Steinberg. He's got excellent speed. Holborn Welsh running for Jason Locke. He's at first. This is towards short. Playable. They're going to go the short way. Corey is there. That ends the 7th inning, but St. Ignatius gets a tying run. Can they hold it in the bottom of the 7th? We'll see. Don't go anywhere. You're following the Division II Central Coast Section Baseball Championships right here on your destination for high school sports, playonsports.com.
And fans, Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, playonsports.com.
Well, the book is closed on Kenny Corey. 6+ innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. The 1 unearned run came on the error that he made on the turn at second base. No Ks, a hit batter, and 3 walks, 1 intentional. And now we've got a new pitcher for St. Ignatius as Matt Crook out of the game after 3 innings of work. And St. Ignatius is entrusting this one to Hunter Noah. So Noah, the senior, now on in relief of Crook.
Hunter Noah being one of the seldom used members of the St. Ignatius staff. Just some of the numbers that I was able to gather coming in, a 6.63 ERA in 12 2/3 innings. And has had some issues with base runners, 28 base runners in those 12 2/3 innings. So if you're Willow Glen, you're looking at this right now, a seldom used pitcher being called on to try to extend the game for the Wildcats. And really all the Rams need is just 1 run, maybe just that big rally, and they've got this title in the bag.
So Crook's day, at least on the mound, as he goes back to designated hitter, they're going to put Hunter Noah in the 3rd spot, and Crook will move back to DH. Crook, 3 innings, 1 hit. That hit the home run that gave Willow Glen the lead in the bottom of the 6th inning. He struck out 5, walked just 2. Adam Traylor set to lead things off to face the right-hander Noah. He is 0 for 2 on the day, grounded to first, walked, and popped a catcher. And this one is way up and in. Ball 1. Tie ball game at 3. 3 runs, 8 hits, 5 errors for St. Ignatius. 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 errors for Willow Glen. This is going to be bounced right back to Noah on a hop. Quick toss over, 1 down. I'm a little surprised that Traylor was swinging there. You just had one around your chin, and then the next one was outside. I'm thinking you're taking until you get a strike and get the base runner aboard. But either way, Traylor's out.
I would have thought so too, but I mean, they got Traylor to reach, and didn't even have his legs under him on that swing. It was just a weak ground ball to the pitcher, and now you've already got yourself down 1 out.
Jimmy Riley, the batter. Curveball up and in. Riley 0 for 2 on the day. He does have an RBI and a sacrifice fly. He has bounced a pitcher and struck out and then was retired at first base when the ball was in the dirt on the strikeout. The 1-0. That's outside ball 2. Noah is yet to throw a strike. That one pitch that Trailer hit was outside of the strike zone as well.
And something I'm noticing here with St. Ignatius, if you swing early, it helps them. When you work the count, you get results like this, except for that strike 1.
Well, that ball looked like it might have been a little bit off the plate, but
yeah.
It catches the corner, and the count is 2-1.
Thought it caught maybe the very tip of the black on the outside corner.
That one's fouled straight back. Riley on top of it.
If it wasn't
but
for
the
that,
count's even, 2-2.
If it wasn't for that net, I probably would have had that one.
Well, that and the window in front of us, but, you know.
That helps.
I like how you're thinking. The 2-2 pitch. Curveball is going to be fouled at the plate as Riley just gets a piece of that ball. Jack Hutchings is in the on-deck circle for Willow Glen. He walked in his first at-bat, hoping to get an opportunity to hit with a runner on. Riley facing a 2-2 count. Noah delivers, hit towards center field, but on a line, and grabbing that one is the center fielder, Jack Stinn, for the second out of the inning.
Those are probably some of the more frustrating at-bats where you hit the ball just exactly the right way, but it's right to somebody. So Riley, understandably very frustrated, but there's really not much more he can do on that at-bat.
We might be going to extra innings, folks, unless Jack Hutchings can extend things in the 7th. Hutchings, not an official at-bat yet, and takes a curveball in the inside corner for strike 1. Nice smooth motion from Hunter Noah.
And Noah really finding his groove pretty quickly here.
That one is high in the air to left field, fading on it, fading, but catching it in front of the warning track is Dennis Schoniger for the 3rd out of the inning. So 1-2-3 goes Willow Glen in the 7th. We move to the 8th. And we are still got some baseball left to be played in this Division II championship game. It'll be Steven Ostrowski, Dylan Foster, and Rob Emery, or excuse me, unless it's Nico Giratano, we will see, who are due up to face Justin Bruce here in the top of the 8th inning. We've got extras in this one, Philip. First game of the triple header, and we have had a heck of a ball game.
Oh, we have, and whether it's been the early run by St. Ignatius or the late home run by John Riley or anything in between, I mean, we've seen it all, essentially. I mean, we've seen the mental mistakes lead to unexpected rallies. We've seen the big hits. I mean, basically, this game has been everything we could have asked for. And, of course, 7 innings was not enough, so why not? Let's go more.
Well, now we're playing 1 inning at a time, as it'll be Ostrowski stepping in, 1 for 3 on the day, a grounder to short that was converted to second base for the final out of the first inning, a pop up to first, a single to left. And then he was the 3rd out in the triple play in the 6th inning. With the bases loaded, nobody out, a triple play by Willow Glen. Home to first to second, the tag out at 3rd. Here's a swing and a miss on a pitch from Bruce. It's actually going to be fouled, and the count is 0-1.
I think now at this point you could probably count on Justin Bruce being a little more settled down for his 2nd inning of work here.
Coming in with the bases empty. Curveball low.
That was a good-looking curveball, too. Nice, healthy break on it.
Up and in. 2-1. You don't want to put the leadoff batter aboard. And the 3 innings where St. Ignatius has scored run, 2 of them, the leadoff hitter got on and came around. This one's fouled. 2-2. It's going to bounce into the field of play. We'll have a momentary timeout as it's retrieved by Adam Trailer in left. Ostrowski in a hole. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Leading off the top of the 8th. In the dirt. Riley smothers it. Count full.
course, again, you might be running into a situation where putting the leadoff guy on for the second inning in a row.
The 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Bruce comes back, gets his second strikeout in an inning and a third, and the batter is Dylan Foster. Foster has had a productive day, singled in the second inning, walked in the fourth, reached on an error in the sixth.
Foster's really been all over the place today, but he's definitely been one of the St. Ignatius standouts.
Ball way inside, ball 1. Rob Emery back in the on-deck circle for St. Ignatius, so he's likely to bat after Foster. The 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike.
Just kind of noticing here from the crowd on both sides, it's almost sort of a tensed up silence, if you will. I mean, both sides are just sitting on pins and needles.
This one is going to be hit towards the right side into the hole. Corey back across his body. What a play!
Wow, a web gem if I ever saw one. I mean, Corey going to his left, throwing off his strong foot, and from our vantage point, it was a good call. They did get him. Of course, St. Ignatius not happy with it.
But they got him by a half a step.
Yep.
Great range by Kenny Corey. And the batter is Emery, who is 0 for 1 in the game, a sacrifice bunt, a fly out to left. He was hit for in the 6th inning, but you can come back into the game and hit at the high school level. He's going to bounce this one foul. The count is 0-2. So Bruce trying to work a 1-2-3 inning and get his team back up where the hitters will be 9, 1, and 2 in the order. Bruce to the plate, swing and a miss, strike 3. He's struck out 3 in 2 innings. And we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Willow Glen set to hit, seeing if they can get this championship won. It's tied at 3.
And it really is going to come down to whoever makes the first mistake is going to lose. I mean, and how ironic is it in a game that has been filled with mistakes, both mental and on the scoreboard, that it really comes down to, okay, whoever makes one more mistake is going to lose this thing.
Or somebody who's going to make a play. That's the other possibility
there you go.
as well.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, sometimes you make a good pitch and someone does something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Noah. We're not sure if it's going to be Tommy Nichols or Logan Carter. Nichols hit in the first 2 at-bats. Carter came on in the 3rd. So we'll see who enters the on-deck circle. They're to be followed by Matt Toscano and Kenny Corey, the 1 and 2 hitters in the order for Willow Glen. You're right. It is a nervous tension in the crowd, waiting for something to happen. They've already seen a lot. We've had a double play and a triple play turned by Willow Glen and a home run. Then Willow Glen trying to turn a double play to end the game, threw the ball away on the 3rd out, and St. Ignatius tied it. Kenny Corey made a great play last inning to keep a runner off the base paths with 1 out. And now we'll see who Willow Glen is going to send up there. It looks like it's going to be, well, Toscano's out there ready to hit, but he's not the first batter. In fact, we don't have a batter yet. We've got a player out late. And it's going to be Wes Malik. So Wes Malik is going to be hitting.
What a moment for Wes Malik, a very seldom used bench player for the Rams. 6 at-bats all season. But Coach Mike Riley tasking him with a chance to get a rally started.
He's going to look at one outside, ball 1. Wes Malik, wearing number 23. Stepping down that right-hand side. He looks at ball 2. I'm Malik. I am taken. I'm taken till I get a strike. Especially since he was laid out on the field. I don't even know if he was. If he knew. Hey, Malik, grab a bat. What? Who, me? 3-0.
It's probably I mean, just what we talked about. I mean, seldom used player. 6 at bats all season. And then, of course, his name gets called. It's like, oh, really? I'm going in now?
We've been saving you for the bottom of the 8th in the championship. Up and in, ball 4. Malik does his job. And he's on board. And the batter is Matt Toscano, who's had a tough day at the plate. 0 for 4. He is grounded to short, flied to right, and struck out looking and swinging. And now we're going to have a runner for Malik. The runner is going to be Jack Rothenberg. So Malik, a productive at bat. Rothenberg in the game. And he represents the championship winning run. Over at first base, Toscano the batter.
And we're even starting to see some of the fans for the next game starting to file in. Pacific Grove already establishing some fan presence here.
Toscano shows bunt. It takes ball 1. That's 5 balls in a row from Noah, who struggled a little bit with his control last inning as well.
Well, Noah's control struggle is really not a surprise to the St. Ignatius coaching staff. I mean, just in the 12 and 2/3 innings he has pitched, 8 walks. So he does have some struggles finding that strike zone.
Toscano showed bunt, took ball 1. Cheating in at third is Ostrowski. Toscano shows bunt again. It's high, ball 2.
And this is sort of where St. Ignatius gets themselves into trouble. If Willow Glen does not swing early, this has been a trend throughout the entire game. Rams don't swing early. They force the Wildcats into driving up those pitch counts. That's where the Wildcats get into trouble.
3-0. Well, now you got to think Toscano is not going to be bunting here. It might give Noah a free pitch to find his release point. We've got coaches hustling down to the bullpen down the right field line for St. Ignatius. Hey, are you ready? Because we're going to need you here. Strike on the outside corner, 3-1.
It was a gimme, just get it over the plate and into the strike zone type of pitch, but it was a good take by Toscano. At this point, I don't know how well he handles the bat, but if he makes it look like he's going to bunt and then pulls it back at the last minute and swings it, might be the ideal play right here.
Now he's showing bunt. He's leaving it out there. He bunts it into the air, and there's 1 out in the inning.
Well, when it's not your day, it's not your day.
Wow. 1 down, and the batter is Kenny Corey. Corey 2 for 4, a couple of singles, a run scored. He struck out swinging in the 6th. You had a 3-0 count for Noah, and he gets back into it with a strike and then a pop out and a bunt attempt to the third baseman.
Well,
the ball is down 1-0.
Sometimes when it's just not your day, I mean, Toscano with an 0 for 5 with a couple of strikeouts. Sometimes if it's just not your day, it is just not your day. I mean, just trying to lay down a bunt, and he pops it up into the air.
Corey is going to drive one to left, fading on it, but under it is Schoniger, and he hauls it in for the 2nd out of the inning. So what was looking to be a promising inning is now almost over for Willow Glen. John Riley, though, is the batter, and Riley with that big home run last inning is going to be intentionally walked. So St. Ignatius wants no piece of him. Rothenberg to second base, and now the go-ahead run, the winning run, is in scoring position for Justin Bruce, who is the pitcher of record for Willow Glen. He has doubled in this game, 1 for 4, reached on an error, flied out to right in the 1st inning, doubled and scored in the 3rd, struck out swinging in the 4th, and reached on that error in the 6th. He is 1 for 4. But a single here, Rothenberg is going to get on his horse, and he could score.
And the nice thing is, for it being 2 outs, for Rothenberg, you go on contact. You don't care if it's going to be a fly ball or a line drive or a ground ball. If you hear the ball hit the bat, you go.
Curveball, strike 1. Rothenberg a short lead at second base. Riley behind him, but he's merely the supporting cast right now. All focus is on the runner at second and the hitter, Bruce. Steinberg trying to keep Rothenberg close. A secondary lead is going to be critical. Here's the 0-1 curveball in the air center field, but playable. Coming in on it, settling under it, and making the catch is Jack Stinn. We go to the 9th. A runner in scoring position for Willow Glen, but they strand 2 on the base paths. And we go to the top of the 9th inning. And it'll be Dennis Schoniger, Logan Steinberg, and Christian Santos. You are following the action here on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports and the Central Coast Section Baseball Championships.
And folks, do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you are enjoying here this afternoon? Tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Justin Bruce walks to the mound. And we're ready for the 9th inning. Schoniger was in this spot in the 7th inning and got things started with a walk against Kenny Corey. And then when Bruce came in, a double, another walk loaded the bases, a strikeout, and then a double play ball that Corey couldn't complete the turn at second base. And Schoniger was able to score, and he'd love to see history repeat itself just 2 innings later.
Certainly would, and now you're seeing the wind really picking up towards left field. Those flags are in full showcase mode with the wind going to left. You're seeing all the California League championships the San Jose Giants have won throughout their history. So a nice little walk through time through even before they were called the San Jose Giants. A lot of people have memories here of them being called the San Jose Bees.
You can certainly feel the history in this stadium when you walk down underneath the stands. A lot of quotes up from great baseball players and broadcasters throughout the course of the game's history. Now Schoniger looking to make a little history of his own here, leading off the 9th. He's going to hit one and dropped by Bruce right back to him, but he recovers and throws over in time. Nice job by Bruce not panicking there. There's 1 down in the inning.
Well, if you're Justin Bruce, that's the ideal way to get the game started. 1 pitch, see you later.
If you're just joining us and thinking, hey, I'm looking for a Division III baseball game in the Central Coast section, we're going to have that for you folks in a little bit, but we have moved into the 9th inning in this Division II championship, tied at 3. 1 down in the top of the 9th. Steinberg shows bunt, takes strike 1. He is 2 for 4 in the game. With 2 doubles in his last 2 at-bats, he's driven in a run.
I don't think I'll ever get used to the concept of the 9th inning being an extra.
Yeah. Well, at the high school level, you play 7. But we have gone the full Major League 9 now. Steinberg took outside ball 1. Curveball right down in there for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Of course, Steinberg really catching fire, like you said, in these last couple of bats. Probably would love nothing better than to get it going himself.
In the air, center field. Settling under it. The grab is made. Matt Toscano retires Steinberg. They're 2 down in the inning. And Christian Santos is the batter. Santos, 1 for 2 in the game. A single, a run scored, a ground out, a sacrifice bunt, a walk. Behind him, Matt Crook. So a critical out here for Bruce. Strike 1.
I'm sure he would love nothing more than to hold off Matt Crook's appearance until the next inning, or perhaps none at all.
This one's going to be bounced foul. Quickly 0-2.
Although I'm sure he'd prefer Crook not to get another at-bat ever again.
That's right. Well, they'll have a chance, will the Rams, in the bottom half of the 9th inning. But first they got to get through this one. Base is empty. Santos in an 0-2 hole. Check swing. Did he go? No. Good call. Looked like he held up. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the pitch that was up.
Of course, it's always tough to judge if he broke a plane because the plane of a swing, if they broke it or not, is always so subjective.
Outside corner, strike 3 looking. Nice inning for Bruce. His 4th strikeout in 3 innings. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. We'll keep it right here on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports and apparently extra innings in the Central Coast Section Championship for Division II. It'll be Tucker Bacon, Adam Traylor, and Jimmy Riley scheduled to hit for the Willow Glen Rams.
And, of course, stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com postgame show where we will select our player of the game as well as wrap up all the action from this ballgame. That's coming up following the game on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Hunter Noah out for what will be his 3rd inning of work. And so far, not bad. I mean, he struggled with his control a little bit, but when you look at the score sheet, 2 walks, 1 of them intentional. He had the leadoff man aboard last inning, but worked out of that. So despite his issues with control from time to time over the course of the year, so far so good for the St. Ignatius right-hander. The third pitcher of the game for the Wildcats.
And really called in a spot duty. Of course, we mentioned how he's really been one of the little used pitchers on this on this entire staff for the Wildcats, but really called in a duty really at a tough spot in the game, and he's really kept the St. Ignatius Wildcats in this game. And of course, this is something that Coach Stetcher was talking about, is that how the pitching always keeps their team in the game. And you're seeing it again right here. This is exactly what he was talking about. I mean, the pitching has sort of allowed them to stay in games, not just today, but the entire season. So you're seeing that come to fruition here.
Only 4 hits through 8 innings allowed by Wildcats pitchers. But, you know, you get deeper in the game like this, and everyone's going to be pressed into service. I mean, we've seen some guys come to the plate for Willow Glen who haven't had many at-bats this year. I think back to last inning when Wes Mallett came in and walked. Rothenberg came in to run. That's not a name you have seen that often this year for Willow Glen. Is Bacon takes strike 1. Bacon 0 for 3 on the game. He's walked, reached on an error, flied out to right, lined out to third. Curveball just misses. 1 ball and 1 strike.
This is really one of those all-hands-on-deck games.
Yes, it is. Are you breathing? Can you walk? Can you throw? You're in. This one is high, 2-1. Some activity in both the Willow Glen and St. Ignatius bullpens. There's a pitch in the outside corner for strike 2 on Bacon. The 2-2. Bounce towards short. Steinberg throws it away. No, they got him. Woo. Whoa. I didn't think that Locke got down quickly enough, but there is one away as Bacon is retired.
That was close indeed, and nice play there by Jason Locke to at least corral that ball. But on that jump, for a second there, I thought Bacon beat the throw, but a nice play by Locke to at least keep the game alive.
If Locke was any shorter, Bacon would be on first base.
Mm-hmm.
This is fouled away by Adam Traylor, who's been swinging early in counts. Somewhat surprising that pitch was inside, but he has been jumping at the pitches early in the count. 0 for 3. He's walked in the game.
He's definitely been a bit antsy, that's for sure.
That one's low and away, ball 1. Of course, Traylor could make our analysis moot with one swing of the bat.
Really could. I mean, I don't know what the cause of him being antsy is. He is a .338 hitter this year.
That ball is low, and the count is 2-1. Nice job there by Traylor. Holding up Jimmy Riley in the on-deck circle. We've got one down in the bottom of the 9th. Emery sets up outside. The 2-1 pitch way outside, 3-1. And Noah not happy with his pitch location there. Outfield is playing. Traylor slightly to pull. Big gap right up the middle. Third baseman Ostrowski even with a bag at third. The 3-1. That is ripped deep in the hole. Steinberg, the backhand. Long throw. Nice play by Steinberg.
That arm of Logan Steinberg has made so many great plays throughout this entire afternoon. It's almost becoming old hat for him at this point. He's used to this. This is his routine.
Well, his backhand side and throw across the diamond. That's the second time he's executed on that. Now the batter is Jimmy Riley. 0 for 3 with a sacrifice fly and RBI. Takes low for ball 1. Jack Hutchings waits on deck. Curveball, strike 1.
Just a nasty break on that curve.
Swing and a miss on another curveball, 1-2. And the ball is thrown over Noah's head by Emery, who was a little too fired up after that one.
Perhaps a little bit. He's probably sensing the end of the inning coming.
looks in for the sign. Bounce towards short. Steinberg's going to have to come in. Collides with his third baseman. The throw safe is Riley. Steinberg says that's on me as Ostrowski cut in front to see if he could cut off the angle on the ball, but it's an infield single for Jimmy Riley.
Well, definitely keeps the inning alive. That's only the 5th hit for the Rams this afternoon. But again, just that collision between Ostrowski and Steinberg. And Steinberg, usually the shortstop, is sort of being the captain of the infield, takes responsibility for that one. But, I mean, you really can't blame him for wanting to make that third play to end the inning.
Riley a short lead at first base. This one's going to be bounced foul. Jack Hutchings is the batter. Came on to hit for Joe. Jack has walked in the game, and then a deep fly ball to left, right on the edge of the warning track when it was caught by Dennis Schoniger for the final out of the 7th inning. Noah sets. Curveball up. 1-1. The winning run is over at first base, but with 2 down. Hutchings, not too many hits this year, but he could erase a season of frustration at the plate with one swing of the bat. He looks at strike 2, and I think he wants that one back. Either he was frustrated because he didn't agree with the call, or he thought, I should have swung at that one. That was a good one.
It really was, and I think it's probably more frustration that he didn't pull the trigger on that one because it did look pretty good even from up here.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The runner goes. Fouled away.
I think he was trying to make up for letting that one pitch go by and going after something outside the strike zone. Even with Jimmy Riley going, would have evened the count. It would have been a tough throw for Emery to pull off. And just even noticing some of the throws he has to second after the pitcher gets through his warm-ups, his throws have not been very good.
Well, he might be tested again. Riley was moving on the 1-2 before it was fouled off. Same count. Riley going again. Curveball fouled away again, right off the end of the bat. Nice job by Hutchings getting a piece of the last 2.
No, he had to. That curveball was coming back into the strike zone. But I like what the Rams are doing here. They're finally noticing that Emery has had a hard time throwing over to second, even if it's just in the warm-ups. And you're probably thinking, if he's having such a hard time with it just in the warm-ups, what could he possibly be doing when the game is actually in progress?
Well, we'll see if Emery gets an opportunity here on this 1-2, if Riley's in motion again. Riley, there he goes. This pitch is outside. Here's the throw down to second base. It ends up in center field. Riley's going to stay right there. As backing up the play was Stinn. And now the runner is in scoring position. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the Willow Glen crowd coming alive a little bit. Now a base hit could win you the ball game.
Now the pressure's really on Hunter Noe. He doesn't necessarily have to focus on the runner at second, but now he knows that it's there. So now the outfield has to play in shallow.
Will the senior Hutchings be a hero? The 2-2 pitch. In the air, right field, coming on and making a great catch is the right fielder, Dylan Foster. He just saved the game.
Boy, saved the game indeed, because Riley was going on contact. Had that dropped, this game's over.
And instead, we go to the 10th inning. I'm going to run out of room on the score sheet here, folks, but we hope you're enjoying the game wherever you're watching it around the world here on PlayOnSports.com. What a great one we're having here in Division II.
And this is just the first of the triple header, mind you.
Yeah, settle in, folks, as we may have a new pitcher out on the mound for Willow Glen. And that is going to be John Riley. So Riley is now going to pitch. And going behind the plate is Nathan Maggie. So Maggie, a freshman catcher, is now in the ball game. So all kinds of activity taking place out here. Riley goes from behind the plate to the mound. Maggie goes from the dugout to behind the plate. Corey stays at second base. got to think Bruce is going to stay in the game at third. We'll have to see where they're going to put Maggie in the order. I guess they're going to, with Sullivan coming out, Nathan Maggie is going to move into that last spot in the order, which is the spot that's due up next inning. And already so far, Tommy Nichols, Logan Carter, and Wes Malik have hit in that particular spot. So that's a lot to ask of your backstop to come into the game as a freshman and start making some plays. So Nathan Maggie is now your catcher. And Bruce back to third, and John Riley on the mound.
What a way to welcome the kid to the show, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And the batter is Matt Crook. So Maggie has got to call pitches, and I'm sure he's going to get some help from the dugout against Matt Crook, who has one hit today, 1 for 3. He's also been intentionally walked. His lone hit, a double back in the first inning.
Well, really, at this point, it's power against power when you've got John Riley against Matt Crook. So this is one of those matchups within a matchup that's going to be really exciting.
Crook steps in, the senior. First pitch from Riley. This is outside ball 1. Riley was the guy who took Crook deep in the 6th inning to give his team the lead. Just missing outside ball 2. Nice job by Maggie framing that pitch.
Of course, there you see Riley just trying to find his groove, find that release point. Not missing by much, though.
Maggie catches that one on the outside corner on the pitch from Riley, and the count is 2-1. This one is popped foul way out of play behind the first base dugout, and the count evens at 2-2. Boy, you can see Crook's power, though. I mean, that is a swing that's got a lot of torque behind it.
We even saw that with his opposite field double that he had just in the first inning. Drove in the first run of this game, so the power is there.
Curveball, bounce toward third. Bruce on 2 hops. Throw over. Crook retired. 5-3 on the putout. 1 down in the 10th. Jason Locke, the batter. Locke, an RBI on a sacrifice fly in the first inning. He's also grounded into a double play and reached on an error. 0 for 3 in the game.
A big sigh of relief, I'm sure, from the Rams defense retiring Crook in such easy fashion.
Riley to the plate. This ball is popped high in the air in the infield. Bruce calling for it, and then he is called off by the shortstop Bacon, who makes the play. And there are 2 down.
Hey, if you're John Riley, you want to get this inning done quickly, all the better.
It's the 9, 1, and 2 hitters in the order due up for Willow Glen in the bottom of the 10th. Jack Stinn, the batter. Stinn 1 for 3. He's also been hit by a pitch. A couple of ground outs in the game. They're playing him to the opposite field of the Rams. This pitch is going to be swung on a miss for strike 1. You know, I like Maggie. He stepped right into the game. He's been on the bench the entire game, maybe warmed up some guys in the bullpen. He's now receiving pitches from the starting catcher, and he's looked like he's been playing there a full 10 innings. That one's fouled away, 0-2.
He really has just sort of meshed himself right into the fabric of this whole game right here. And like you said, really receiving Riley well. I mean, just kind of guiding him in the right paths. Obviously, he's probably getting pitching signals from the coaching staff, but really framing things up nicely.
Riley with Maggie setting up outside, gets the outside corner and catches Stinn looking for strike 3. A 1-2-3 inning. That is 10 in a row retired by the Willow Glen Rams. We go to the bottom of the 10th inning, and Willow Glen coming up, seeing if they can win this Division II championship.
And fans, Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Jeff Kurtz alongside Philip Kern, producer Kevin Smith, cameraman Dan Stewart. We are live at San Jose Municipal Stadium for the Division II championship game that is now in the bottom of the 10th inning, tied at 3. And we'll see who Willow Glen's going to send up in the 9th spot in the order, because they've already had 3 guys hit there. They've had 2 players they put in there from a fielding perspective. And we'll see if it's going to be Maggi who's going to hit. He was moved into the catcher spot when John Riley went out to the mound, and it would seem natural to put him in to that 9th spot in the order since he replaced Kenny Sullivan, and that's exactly what he's going to do. So he's going to hit. Matt Toscano to follow, then Kenny Corey in the bottom of the 10th inning.
Looks like there might be a new pitcher out there for St. Ignatius. We're going to try and find out who that is exactly.
Well, we will get that sorted out for you quickly, as we got a lot of guys who've been shuffling in and out of here. Nathan Maggi steps into the box. And Andrew Ferrero is our new pitcher, and he's going to start Maggi out high, ball 1. So Ferrero, the 4th pitcher of the game, comes on for St. Ignatius, and he's high for ball 2. So both youngsters pressed into service here. You got a freshman in Maggi, and then Ferrero, a young man out on the mound for St. Ignatius. And he catches the outside corner for strike 1. 2 balls and a strike. So you're seeing the future of Willow Glen and St. Ignatius baseball out on the field right now in the present day, as I don't think either coach thought that these players were going to be getting playing time today, but they have to now as this ball's popped in the air right side by Maggi, infield playable. Who's going to grab it? It's going to be the first baseman, Locke, who takes it away from Christian Santos for the first out of the inning.
Nearly some miscommunication there on that one. And, of course, St. Ignatius not immune to some of those. They've already had a couple of fielding mishaps already, but now it's back to the top of the lineup for Willow Glen and Matt Toscano.
And Toscano's had a tough day at the plate, 0 for 5 so far. We're in the bottom of the 10th inning. Strike 1 to Toscano. Only 5 hits through 9 1/3 innings for Willow Glen. That's all that St. Ignatius pitchers have surrendered. This one's going to be bounced towards short. Steinberg charging. He's going to have to hustle that throw. He gets Toscano, 2 down. I'll tell you what, the game was wild and woolly through the 7 innings, but it has really settled into a nice rhythm in innings 8 through 10. Nobody's really had any kind of a threat on the base paths.
No, nobody really has. And, of course, I think wild and woolly would have been a sort of an understatement of what we saw. I mean, we saw everything from a triple play to a double play that could have ended this game but didn't.
As Kenny Corey, the batter, taking inside for ball 1. He's 2 for 5 today with a run scored.
So really just saw a little bit of everything, for lack of a better term.
Outside corner, strike 1. 2 down quickly in the bottom of the 10th. Ferrero pitching free and easy, curveball away, and the count should be 2-1. It is 2 balls and 1 strike. Ferrero comes to the plate. This is drilled towards second base. Santos to his left, fields it, and we go to the 11th. We've completed 10, and we've got more baseball to play in the Division II championship game. You are certainly, as my broadcast partner Philip Kern mentioned probably a couple innings ago, you are certainly getting your money's worth in this one. Stephen Ostrowski, Dylan Foster, and Rob Emery, your scheduled hitters for St. Ignatius. We are in the top of the 11th inning. Wow. Well, we talked about a lot in the top of the show about what we expected to see, but I don't think it included 11 innings. It certainly didn't include a triple play.
No.
This has been a fun game, but I'm sure a very tense one for fans on both sides.
And I think it's been basically tense ever since the game got tied up back in the 7th inning. So really everybody's been sort of sitting on pins and needles ever since that time. And with every passing inning, and especially if they were so fortunate as to try to get a rally going, the intensity just ratchets up at least a couple notches every time.
Well, Ostrowski will be coming to the plate is 1 for 4. Singled. Well, let's take you all the way through it. Grounded out in the first, popped to first in the 4th inning, singled to left in the 6th, struck out swinging in the 8th. And he steps in as John Riley, his 2nd inning of work.
We got a little bit of a delay as the umpire is looking at the St. Ignatius dugout.
Yeah, I think someone was standing right in front of the dugout, and he was telling him, you got to get back in. We're ready to get things started. Here is Riley's first pitch. It is in the air towards second base. 2 players collide, and who comes away with the ball? I don't even know who has it. It's Riley. Riley and Corey both going for the ball, and we saw that almost happen to St. Ignatius, and Riley makes the catch for the first out.
Even a simple infield pop-up hasn't gone conventionally in this game.
Not so simple.
No. How else would you have it go this way, though?
Dylan Foster now the batter. Singled to left in the 2nd, walked in the 4th, reached on an error in the 6th, grounded to 2nd on a spectacular play by Kenny Corey in the 8th. 1 for 3 in the game. Riley starts him up and in ball 1. We are in the top of the 11th inning. The 1-0, strike 1.
Nice way to even the count, and Riley really just sort of cruising through these last couple innings here.
A 1-1 delivery. Oh, Maggi dropped the ball. If he caught that, maybe gets a strike on the outside corner instead. Count goes 2-1.
He was framed the right way, though.
This is going to be fouled straight back, and the count's 2-2. Emery is in the on-deck circle. So he will likely appear. And I say that if you're just joining us, well, why would you be second-guessing that? Because Nico Giratano batted for him midway through this game, but you can come back in on that. This one's fouled straight back again by Foster. And Emery, who's already logged a lot of time behind the dish, is also now jogging back and forth, retrieving those foul balls. He's getting quite a collection going there at the on-deck circle. He's got 2 of them.
He probably wanted to at least get the legs loosened up a little bit, because being in the squat behind the plate for as long as he has.
Riley's 2-2. Fouled away, and it's going to land right by Emery.
Oh, not quite the jog he was anticipating.
That's not the hat trick you're necessarily looking for, but 3 baseballs on 3 fouls that Emery retrieves. He gives them all back to our home plate umpire. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out in the inning, nobody on. No base runners for St. Ignatius. This pitch is high, 3-2. No base runners for St. Ignatius since the 7th inning.
And Riley sort of mad at himself at that curveball. Didn't quite release it the way he wanted, and you saw the frustration pretty much as soon as he released it.
The full count pitch. In the air, infield, playable for Bacon, floats out into the shallow outfield and makes the catch behind second base for the 2nd out of the inning.
A little bit more of your standard pop-up that way.
And now Rob Emery. Well, we say standard because nobody collided.
Exactly.
Nobody was settling under it and had the ball pushed by the wind away from them.
Right.
Emery, the batter, 0 for 2. Sacrifice bunt. Fly out to left. A strikeout. And he looks at a first pitch for ball 1. Riley, low. Maggi blocks it. 0 and 2-0.
I mean, just with the way things have gone, we sort of have to learn to appreciate the conventional nowadays.
Yes.
At least today.
We have seen so much unconventional, on the unconventional side of things, happen in this ball game. Now 3-0 on Emery, and on deck is Schoniger.
Schoniger's been giving the Rams pitchers fits today, too.
Riley, 3-0. Strike 1. Ball 4.
Wow.
The first runner for St. Ignatius since they tied it in the 7th inning. And the batter, Schoniger, who is 1 for 3, scored a couple of runs and walked. And now Riley will be working out of the stretch for the first time.
And interestingly enough, they don't use a pinch runner for Emery, so they are going to let him fend for himself on the base paths.
And the ball gets away from Maggi, and on the pass ball, Emery is now in scoring position. So the freshman pressed into service, and one gets away from him, and now a base hit gives St. Ignatius the lead. 1 ball, no strikes. Low, 2-0. Logan Steinberg on deck. He is the top of the order for St. Ignatius.
It's one of the first real threats that St. Ignatius has had since we've gone to extra innings, too.
The 2-0. Outside, 3-0. First base is open, but Steinberg has been effective today. Riley to the plate. Ball 4. He's walked 2 in a row. Steinberg 2 for 5. 2 doubles, a run driven in. And time is called as Mike Riley goes out to talk to his pitcher, and Nathan Maggi will join him for the conference on the mound. Do you keep him in the game? Nothing brewing in the Willow Glen bullpen right now, and both teams running low on arms.
Well, at this point, if you're Willow Glen, you really don't have much of a choice as far as leaving Riley in. I mean, he is one of your better pitchers. I mean, there is probably one other option with Joe Hutchings if you wanted to use him. He has made quite a few appearances before. But I'm not too sure if Mike Riley wants to venture that deep into his bullpen, even if this is the last game of the season.
Steinberg steps in with a runner at first and second in a tie ball game and takes on the inside corner for strike 1. We are in the top of the 11th. And St. Ignatius with their first significant threat since that 7th inning. Curveball, great pitch, outside corner, and Steinberg now down 0-2. And he's got to protect.
Really the best 2-strike adjustments you can make is just to go up the middle, and you're looking at that middle infield right now.
This
Perfect
one's
opportunity.
Fouled away into the netting along that first base side as Maggi set up outside. They froze Jack Stinn with a pitch in the outside corner when Maggi set up there in the 10th. The 0-2, fouled away.
And Steinberger's really out on his front foot, trying to get to that breaking ball. He did foul it off, but really nothing to that swing.
Fortunate to make contact, but he stays alive, and that's all you're looking for. Outfield's playing Steinberg slightly to right, as is the infield. The 0-2, bounce towards the second baseman. Corey can go the short way, or he can go to first, and he retires Steinberg to end the threat. Bottom of the 11th coming up, folks. And it's the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the order for Willow Glen to face Andrew Ferrero, John Riley, Justin Bruce, Tucker Bacon. The game continues in Division II in the Central Coast section right here on your destination for high school sports, playonsports.com.
I know we've mentioned this a couple times already, but please, by all means, stay tuned for the playonsports.com postgame show, where we will select our player of the game as well as wrap up all the action from this ball game. That's coming up following this game, whenever it ends, on your destination for high school sports, playonsports.com.
That's right. The postgame show. Will we get to a postgame show? Not if St. Ignatius has their way, at least not after this 11th inning. Still tied at 3. Ferrero out there for his second inning of work. And Riley, who homered to give Willow Glen the lead in the 6th inning, he was intentionally walked with 2 outs in the 8th. But now with the bases empty, and he being the leadoff batter of the inning, you would think St. Ignatius is going to be pitching to him here, but that is dangerous territory.
Well, it's dangerous already. He's already taken him deep once. Not too sure if they want to have him take that risk again. But
you kind of have to. You don't want to put the winning run on as the first batter of the inning.
Exactly.
1 for 3 is Riley with that aforementioned home run. He's also walked twice, once intentionally. He's stolen a bag. He's now pitching for Willow Glen. He's caught 9 innings of this game. He's done a little bit of everything except drive the team bus to the ball game. And he steps in now against Ferrero. They are playing Riley to pull as St. Ignatius. This is an off-speed pitch that's high, ball 1. Now they may try to stay away from Riley, but again, putting him on with nobody out. And the 4, 5, 6 hitter is right behind him. It's tricky territory right now for St. Ignatius. That curveball is in the dirt, and the count is 2-0.
Well, they're sort of playing him to pull. I mean, when he hit his home run, it was towards left field, but now the wind has changed. It's actually blowing out towards center.
That one is a breaking ball high and away, 3-0.
I think they're just going to pitch around him at this point. They don't want to chance it.
Well, Riley will certainly take the walk.
Any base runner Willow Glen will take at this point.
Outside ball 4.
Ooh.
Riley draws his 3rd walk of the game, the leadoff man aboard. And in the 8th, 9th, and 10th innings, Willow Glen had the leadoff runner on in the 8th. They had a runner on with 2 outs in the 9th. They didn't have anybody on last inning, so now they've got the leadoff man aboard for the 2nd time in extra innings, and the batter is Justin Bruce, who is 1 for 5 with a double and a run scored. Infield playing double play depth. First pitch, high and away, ball 1. And that's one of the dangers, Philip, is if you try to pitch around a guy, then you got to find your release point again and throw strikes against the guy behind him.
Exactly, and of course, I mean, Justin Bruce, we talked about this already. He's not a slouch hitter. Doesn't quite have the power that John Riley has, but still makes very good contact. Really came in as around a 380 hitter. Yeah, 379 just coming into this one. So he does make a good amount of contact, and John Riley, he does have a good amount of speed. He's about average for a catch. He's already stolen a base.
3-0. And time is called by Rob Emery as Ferrero struggling with his control. And again, teams are running short of options on the mound.
And Ferrero has not thrown a strike this inning yet.
7 pitches outside the zone. On deck is Tucker Bacon. The winning run is at first. The count is 3-0 on Justin Bruce, who's looking to push that runner into scoring position. The 3-0. That's a strike on the inside corner. Emery drops the ball, but retrieves. Riley retreats to first base.
Not too often you see your cleanup hitter drop the bat to bunt.
The 3-1. That is bounced high in the air over the third baseman's head. High one, and Steinberg's going to hold it. It's an infield single. Riley to second base. That was took an almost AstroTurf-like hop off the ground over the third baseman's head, and Steinberg had it kick up off the dirt, and he's fortunate he grabbed that ball on that last hop, leaping into the air. If it goes into left, Riley might be on third base. And now a conference out on the mound with Andrew Ferrero, the infield, and the catcher for St. Ignatius.
I think for everyone's sake, I think because AstroTurf is getting phased out, everybody's thankful for that.
Yes. And the batter is Tucker Bacon, who has yet to get a hit today. He has walked and reached on an error. 0 for 4. This screams for a bunt. And maybe that was the conversation taking place out on the mound is, okay, here's what we're going to do and how we're going to attack it. Ostrowski is in on the grass at third. Over at first, Locke is also in on the grass. Double play depth up the middle. Bacon has not been called upon to lay one down in the game. But with runners at first and second and nobody out, he's probably going to square here. And he is showing bunt, and now the wheel play is on. They're going to throw back to second base. The ball is going to be dropped, but it's not going to get that far away from Santos, and Riley will stay. That's actually a good play by St. Ignatius. You got the shortstop covering third. The third and first baseman charge. The second baseman tries to get the lead runner backdoor on the pickoff.
Oh, it's a very nice setup, and they're probably still expecting Bacon to lay one down, but of course the guy behind him, Trailer, he's been having a very hard time at the plate this afternoon too.
Strike one. As Bacon showed bunt and then pulled back. Charging hard were both Locke and Ostrowski.
Oh, yeah. Charging hard indeed, and of course, if they were fortunate enough, they'd probably want to try to go for that lead out at third.
Ball is high, 1-1, as this time Bacon does not square. So again, the strategies being employed by both coaching staffs. Showing bunt, then taking the bunt off. The 1-1 pitch from Ferrero. High and away, 2-1. Emery trying to nurse his young pitcher through this inning and give themselves another chance to hit in the top of the 12th.
When Ferrero really this is the first difficult moment he's had since he's come in, and he's really having a hard time finding that strike zone.
The bunt is laid down. Ferrero's going to make the play. He's looking one. He throws it away, and hustling home is Riley, and Willow Glen wins the ball game. You hate to see it happen on an error, but for Willow Glen, they will take it, and they outlast St. Ignatius 4-3 in 11 innings.
Well, you know what? In a game that was littered with a lot of mistakes today, I mean, it's almost poetic justice that it would end in that fashion. I mean, St. Ignatius had been playing with fire this entire afternoon, and to their credit, they stayed in this game for as long as they did. I mean, with all the errors that had happened, but in a sad way, how appropriate is it to end for them? The defense of their title comes to an end with another error. They're sixth in this afternoon.
Ferrero looked at third, then tried to get the out at first and threw it over Locke's head, and John Riley came around to score. Folks, we're going to take a quick break here on PlayOnSports.com, then come back with the PlayOnSports.com post-game show where we will announce our player of the game for the victorious Willow Glen Rams. The Rams win it 4-3 in 11 innings over St. Ignatius. Back with more in a moment. Back here on PlayOnSports.com. It's the PlayOnSports.com postgame show. Jeff Kurtz and Philip Kern. What a game that we just saw. Willow Glen wins it 4-3 in 11 innings. We had a triple play. We had a double play. We had a home run. We had teams scratching and clawing. There were 9 errors. There were 14 hits. But the game ends on one of those errors, an overthrow at first base by the pitcher Andrew Ferrero, and John Riley chugs around from second and scores the winning run for the Rams, and they take the D2 title.
Any little bit that you could have possibly expected, even some of the outlying possibilities, this was your kind of game. I mean, you mentioned all the stuff that happened, the triple play, which was probably one of the highlights of this whole thing, but there were some outstanding plays. I mean, of course, just with everything that had happened, I mean, we talked about it just as the game ended. I mean, just so many errors that were going on, and midnight has struck for Cinderella this afternoon. Even though it's pretty light outside, as far as the playoff run goes, St. Ignatius, Cinderella, the midnight hour has struck. The carriage has turned into a pumpkin, and they have fallen short in their defense of the Division II title. But what a showing by both teams. It got ugly at some times. It really did. But both these teams hung in there, and such a disappointing way for St. Ignatius to lose out in their title defense. But give credit to Willow Glen. They hung in there and really did earn this one.
And timely pitching on the part of the Rams, especially in those extra innings where, except for that last inning, the 11th, when there were 2 runners on with 2 outs, St. Ignatius was quieted, and they had 8 hits through 7 innings, and they didn't get any after that. And our player of the game is the winning pitcher for Willow Glen, and he scored the winning run, and he hit a home run to give his team the lead briefly in the 6th inning, and he's graduating, and he's going to Cal next year. It's nothing but roses for John Riley, our PlayOnSports.com player of the game.
And such a fine end to his Rams career. I mean, we talked about it a couple times during the game, just how he has been such a big part of this Rams baseball program. I mean, we threw out a couple of his numbers of just what he's accomplished throughout his career. Let's not forget, this guy was a CCS freshman, sophomore, and junior of the year as well. So what else do you add to a guy who pretty much has all the titles he could ask for? CCS Division II title. Just add that to the space in his trophy case. And, of course, you just mentioned it. He's going to Cal next year, a very storied baseball program. They've had a lot of good success recently after almost being a non-existent program. Of course, that was a big story throughout the Bay Area about how the Cal baseball program almost had the plug pulled on it, but was saved. And now they basically had a second life to them. And John Riley gets to add his own chapter to Cal baseball history. So I'm sure he's very excited, especially after the way this ended.
4-3 is how it ended. Willow Glen winning against St. Ignatius in Division II in 11 innings. Folks, we got a lot more baseball coming your way. Can't believe we're telling you that. A lot more baseball. We still got 2 more games to play. Yep. Division III, and no rest for the weary for my broadcast partner, Philip Kern. He is going to be on the call with Bo Fertig. That game will be starting about 30 to 40 minutes from now, so I invite you to check back on our website at that time. But you can jump over to Central Coast Section Softball as those games are winding down. The triple header we had over today at the Police Athletic League, not far from San Jose Municipal Stadium. I'd like to thank our producer, Kevin Smith, our cameraman, Dan Stewart. Both of them are going to be back for Game 2. And for my broadcast partner, Philip Kern, I'm Jeff Kurtz saying so long temporarily from San Jose Municipal Stadium, where Willow Glen wins Division II 4-3 in 11 innings over St. Ignatius, right here on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Division III in just a little bit, folks. Stay with us all afternoon.